Chapter 47:30. The profound armored penta-horned dragon became even more frightened. It had never met such a powerful opponent before. However, the profound armored penta-horned dragon also roared angrily. It waved its dragon body and extended its dragon claws. The dragon tattoos on its body began to show their might. The dragon claws were about to tear the void apart as they clawed at the demon sovereign. Boom, boom, boom. The demon sovereign and the profound armored penta-horned dragon collided. Countless explosions sounded as the dragon claws flew everywhere. The demon sovereign's body was torn apart. Pieces of the demon sovereign's body were mixed with demon chi and scattered in the air. At the same time, the scales on the profound armored penta-horned dragon's body were ripped off by the demon sovereign. The dragon tattoos were also tainted by the black demon chi. What was special was that the demon sovereign's body was like a hurricane that gradually wrapped around the profound armored penta-horned dragon's body. Black ropes formed strange demon tattoos that covered the profound armored penta-horned dragon's body. Shwa! The profound armored penta-dragon's tail swung and shattered a small part of the demon sovereign's body. The demon tattoos that formed on the tail were also scattered. The profound armored penta-horned dragon did not dare to be careless. It waved its dragon claws to tear apart the demon chi that wrapped around its body. Then, it raised its head and roared angrily, roar. Its body emitted a black light. This light was like thousands of small dragons that rushed out from the profound armored penta-dragon's body and supported the demon sovereign's body. So, seeing that it had broken free from the demon sovereign, the profound armored penta-dragon's body suddenly shrunk and flew out from the demon chi. Huh, little demon dragon. The demon sovereign's face appeared from the demon chi and laughed, I haven't played enough yet. How can you run away? Wait until I peel off your demon dragon scales one by one. As he spoke, the demon sovereign turned into a huge demon palm and pounced on the profound armored penta-dragon. The profound armored penta-dragon was still in shock. How could it let the demon sovereign get close to it? It hurriedly opened its mouth. Roar! A dark light was spat out from its mouth. A powerful dragon breath landed and a dragon core that was several feet in size flew out. Once the dragon pellet appeared, a rich dragon aura immediately shrouded the entire area. This dragon aura contained the power of heaven and earth. Demon Master Shi's demon body immediately trembled, and the demon aura around his demon body turned into dust. What was special was that an extremely cold chi rushed out of the dragon core. The demon chi and the dragon chi in the cold chi produced different demon spots and dragon patterns. The two different auras landed in the air, and along with the cold chi, they quickly spread throughout the space within 100 miles. This cold air was different from the previous barrier. Every inch it spread, countless crystals would appear, and every inch of crystal was completely different. Seeing that the space was filled with crystals, the dragon core disappeared along with the profound armored penta-horned dragon. Within the 100 li of the ice seal, countless swimming dragons could be seen within the countless crystalline hairs. It was as if every swimming dragon was a mystic armored pentaceratops. Oh! Demon Venerable Shi's devil body was also sealed by the cold of the dragon pellet, but Demon Venerable Shi was not afraid at all. He looked at the crystal hair that was growing nearby with interest, and said with a surprised tone, Little demon dragon, you are quite promising. Not only can you use the dragon core's cold chi to form a dragon array, you can also split the manifested dragon form into countless primordial spirits and fuse them with the dragon array. But this divine ability has already surpassed that Dragon Island's hatred-parting heavenly technique. Humph. The profound armored penta-horned dragon's cold snort came from the countless crystalline hairs. Aren't you afraid of biting your tongue when you talk big? If you have the ability, then break this dragon array first. Otherwise, your demon body should be obediently devoured by this saint. Ha ha ha. Demon Master Shi laughed loudly. If you were to fight with this lord head-on, this lord might be afraid of your dragon body. But now, you actually set up a dragon array in front of this lord. You really don't know how to write the word death. While laughing, Demon Master Shi's body split up again, turning into countless demons. They passed through the space and the dragon array and accurately landed in front of every dragon form. Roar, 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 roar. Waves of demonic roars accompanied the dragon roars. Every dragon form began to tear the demons apart. Countless crystalline hairs were destroyed in this crazy battle, and the space within 100 li began to gradually collapse. In just half a cup of tea's time, 60% of the dragon array was destroyed. The seemingly complicated dragon array was like paper in front of Demon Master Shi, who had devoured a demon spirit. The profound armored pentahorn dragon had only smashed its own foot with a rock. Roar. Seeing that it was no match, the profound armored pentahorn dragon roared angrily. All of the crystalline hairs suddenly shrunk, and the dim dragon core and the incomplete profound armored pentahorn dragon appeared in a corner of the space. Little demonic dragon. Demon Sovereign Shi faced the third great sage of the Great Sage Hall as easily as a cat catching a mouse. Seeing the profound armored pentahorn dragon's body tremble, he smiled and said, "Don't struggle. Let this sovereign swallow you. Don't worry, this lord will be gentle, and won't let you feel pain. Oh, I forgot, you don't need to think about reincarnation. This lord will eat bones without spitting out dregs, and your soul is also an excellent supplement." Looking at this terrifying demon master, the profound armored pentahorn dragon was powerless. The demon clan's methods that it was so proud of were just child's play in front of Demon Master Shi. The dragon array that it had painstakingly cultivated for God knows how many years was an insurmountable moat in front of other demon clans and humans. However, in the eyes of Demon Master Shi, it was just a small river that could be easily crossed. Other than its dragon body, the profound armored pentahorn dragon had no other methods to resist Demon Master Shi's devouring. Roar, this saint will fight it out with you. The profound armored pentahorn dragon roared angrily. Its dragon body suddenly rushed out, and its dragon horn glowed once again as it pounced towards Demon Master Shi. You see, you've run out of tricks. Demon Master Shi ridiculed, "You think this lord can't break your dragon body?" Ouch, damn it. Just as Demon Master Shi was ridiculing, something strange happened. On the profound armored pentahorn dragon's dragon horn, a crackling sound came out, and the flower-like dragon horn suddenly exploded. When the surface of the dragon horn cracked like a molting shell, a horn similar to that of a Pegasus was revealed. The moment this horn appeared, a vast and holy aura rushed out, turning into a sharp beam of light that pierced into Demon Master Shi's heart in the blink of an eye. Pa pa pa. Wherever the holy beam of light passed, all of the demon chi was wiped out, all of the demons were killed, and the torrential blood light on Demon Master Shi's body instantly dried up. How is this possible? This time, it was Demon Master Shi's turn to be shocked. He exclaimed, "How can you have so many variations? How can you combine demon chi and holy chi in one body? Give it as a reward, and thank you for all of your support." Chapter 47-31. Demon Lord Shi was shocked. His demonic body was even faster than the wind as he fled into the distance. He wanted to dodge the light pillar that pierced his heart. Unfortunately, the holy light pillar was like Demon Lord Shi's nemesis. Demon Lord Shi instantly fled 100 miles away, while the light pillar chased after him for 100 miles without any hesitation. Finally, with a loud boom, the light pillar still hit Demon Lord Shi's body. However, it was at this moment that Demon Lord Shi barely dodged the attack. The light pillar only caused the right half of his body to collapse. Not only that, the holy light pillar was like a flame that landed on Demon Lord Shi's body and ignited it. Pure white sparkling sparks crazily flew towards Demon Lord Shi's broken body. Damn it, damn it. What kind of technique is this? Demon Lord Shi roared. He really didn't expect the mystic armored Pentaceratops to have such an unexpected technique. Seeing Demon Lord Shi injured by the holy light pillar, and that Demon Lord Shi's demon chi and scarlet flames were no match for the holy sparks, the mystic armored Pentaceratops revealed a smile. The horn glowed with pure white light again. The broken dragon body tried its best to fly toward Demon Master Shi, wanting to give him a fatal blow. Unfortunately, before the profound armored pentahorn dragon could get close, the demon lord suddenly spat out a seven-colored spiritual fire from his mouth. Wherever the seven-colored spiritual fire landed, the holy sparks were immediately extinguished. In fact, even more sparks were devoured by the spiritual fire. The mystic armored Pentaceratops was dumbfounded. He couldn't care less about killing Demon Lord Shi anymore. Since you're here, there's no need for you to leave. Demon Lord Shi sneered. He suddenly stood still in midair. With a wave of his left hand, the demon blade murder appeared in his hand. Wang wang. A loud buzzing sound came from the demon blade murder. An unparalleled killing intent rushed out from the demon blade murder. That monstrous shadow covered the entire sky. With a wave of the demon blade murder, a pitch-black blade light not only split the void, but also split the holy light pillar in half. What was special was that when the beam of light was split apart, the entire beam of light was split into two halves. On the other side of the beam of light, the holy horn of the mystic armored Pentaceratops was also split into two halves. Furthermore, when the saber light landed on the mystic armored Pentaceratops' body, its flesh began to crack. Roar. The mystic armored Pentaceratops roared in pain. Its dragon body suddenly burst open, and a blood-red dragon shadow rushed into the dragon core in its body. The dragon core also shattered, and a dragon image was born from the dragon core and dragon shadow. Not good. Seeing the dragon form, ripples appeared in the void. Demon Lord Shi immediately understood that the mystic armored Pentaceratops knew that it was no match for him, and had already abandoned its dragon body, preparing to use its primordial spirit to escape into the void. And at this time, Devil Saber Shi's saber shadow had just passed. Even if Devil Sovereign Shi teleported over, he probably wouldn't be able to block the dragon manifestation primordial spirit. What was special was that the mystic armored Pentaceratops' primordial spirit actually had some holy brilliance, which could actually block Devil Saber Shi's devouring. Just as the dragon manifestation primordial spirit of the mystic armored Pentaceratops was about to escape, a thunderous rumble came from outside the space. A suppression comparable to the power of heaven and earth was born, and instantly controlled the entire space. This suppression was so powerful that not only Demon Lord Shi couldn't block it, but even the dragon manifestation primordial spirit that was about to disappear was forced out, and was still revealed. As for the nether demonic dragon spider, facing Daoist Witch, an indescribable fear arose from the bottom of its heart. Daoist Witch exposed its origin, and it even made the nether demonic dragon spider's entire body tremble. In its heart, it knew that its true form was a blood spider. This was an absolute secret that even the mystic armored Pentaceratops didn't know. But today, it was seen through with a single glance. It really didn't know how to face such a terrifying opponent like Daoist Witch. However, the nether demonic dragon spider only trembled for a moment, and the scattered aura around its body began to become orderly, and even felt like it was condensing into steel. After all, he was a great saint of the demon race. He had cultivated from a lowly blood sea soul beast to the 1,000-demon sacred realm. The price he had paid and the amount of time he had spent was not something Daoist Witch could understand. It had always followed the mystic armored Pentaceratops' lead, not because it was afraid of the mystic armored Pentaceratops, but because it wanted to use the demonic chi and prestige of the mystic armored Pentaceratops to cover its own brilliance, so that the other great saints of the demonic clan would overlook its origin and its secret. All these years, it had done extremely well. Not only did Xiao Hua and the other humans not care about the nether demonic dragon spider, but even the golden rock didn't care about the nether demonic dragon spider. At this time, the nether demonic dragon spider's true body had been exposed by Daoist Witch. The nether demonic dragon spider already had the intention to kill Daoist Witch, the mystic armored Pentaceratops, and Xiao Hua. Woo woo. A mournful cry emerged from the nether demonic dragon spider's mouth as it blew out a gust of blood sea wind. When the gust of blood sea wind landed in the air, it immediately turned into nether chi. Like a raging wave, the withering aura of death enveloped the surrounding 50 kilometers. When Daoist Witch saw that the nether demonic dragon spider's body had such a pure blood sea wind, he couldn't help but frown. In fact, Xiao Hua was the most suitable person to deal with the nether demonic dragon spider. However, Daoist Witch glanced at Xiao Hua, who was fighting with the Grand Mist Ancestor. He smiled faintly and said, "Little blood spider, before I take action, I want to advise you one last time. Everything you did today should be the Grand Mist Ancestor and the Mystic Armored Pentaceratops orders. You're just being used by them, and you can only be considered an accomplice. With Daoist Zhao's benevolence, he might not kill you. Do you remember? Before entering the space, Daoist Zhao even bowed to you. At that time, he wanted to remind you. Even though you didn't understand at that time, you're still a little stubborn. Then, I will say one more thing. If you stop now, I won't make a move either. We'll just wait at the side, and after the Grand Mist Ancestor and the Mystic Armored Pentaceratops are killed, we'll leave this space together. From then on, you'll still be the demonic beast race's great sage, and Daoist I and Daoist Xiao will still be the Fortune Gate's old masters. We'll pretend that nothing happened today. This great sage isn't good at arguing. You don't have to think about convincing this great sage to surrender without a fight." When the nether demonic dragon spider saw that Daoist Witch was surrounded by the nether demonic dragon spider, he calmed down and sneered. Moreover, at this point, it's just as Daoist Xiao said, the map is already laid bare. How can it end so easily between us? AI, alright. Daoist Witch sighed and said, I don't need to say anything more. Since you've already made a choice, you'll have to bear the consequences of your choice. You don't even know what I am. You also don't know where Daoist Zhao's bottom line is. Donate it, and thank you for all your support. Chapter 4732. Hee hee. The nether demonic dragon spider snickered. It doesn't matter what your bottom line is. What's important is that you can't tell anyone about me. As he spoke, the space within 100 miles around Daoist Witch and the nether demonic dragon spider suddenly rippled like a space storm. The ripple tore open the space nearby, and a strange chi of heaven and earth rushed out. Daoist Witch was stunned, and he quickly reached out to grab it. A lightning hand formed by the three corpses in thunder fell, trying to seal the space within 100 miles. Crack. The moment the three corpses in thunder was formed, the strange chi of heaven and earth landed on it. The dark green lightning instantly exploded, and pieces of it fell from the giant hand. That's weird. Daoist Witch was slightly taken aback. He didn't understand what the nether demonic dragon spider was doing. He quickly opened his mouth and performed the lightning flashes and thunder rolls technique. Countless thumb-sized green seal characters rushed out like soldiers, filling up the space within 100 miles. Then, there was an obscure sound. Rumble. The entire space was filled with lightning, shattering all the chi of heaven and earth. Humph, watch me. Daoist Witch snorted when he saw that the lightning flashes and thunder rolls technique was effective. He opened his mouth again, preparing to use the green seal characters. However, it was also at this moment that the sound of silkworms spitting silk rang out. In the void that had just been torn open, endless black spider silk mixed with a serene green grew out again. The spider silk was like tens of millions of fingers, falling in midair. The space near the spider silk, which was the size of a palm, instantly collapsed. The tens of millions of spider silk naturally caused the entire space to collapse. Layers of turbulent space energy swept everything and rushed towards Daoist Witch. Damn it. Daoist Witch felt the destructive power rushing towards him and cursed, this guy's methods are too sinister. If it was a one-on-one fight, even the mystic armored Pentaceratops might not be his match, let alone the flying feather void beast. However, Daoist Witch didn't panic. He chanted the green seal characters, and his entire body gradually changed. A moment later, Dijiang, who had the face of a human and the body of a bird, with 4 wings and 6 claws on its back, appeared. As soon as Dijiang appeared, it flapped its 4 wings, and tens of thousands of space vortexes instantly appeared, rushing towards the overwhelming space collapse. Boom! 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 The spatial vortex collided with the spatial collapse. Like a flood meeting magma, a huge boom rang out in the void. Let alone 100 kilometers, even the space within 1,000 kilometers shook violently. Dijiang's body swayed and created layers of phantoms. Layers of space ripples rippled out in all directions. Ouch! An indescribable roar came from Dijiang's throat. Dijiang's body pierced through layers of space airwaves and went against the flow. The 6 claws around him disappeared into the void. Naturally, the spatial ripples also affected the nether demonic dragon spider. The nether demonic dragon spider's body began to distort rapidly, as if it was about to be torn apart. Dark green light flashed around the nether demonic dragon spider as it tried its best to stabilize its body. At the same time, huge grayish-black vortexes appeared around the demonic dragon spider, and Dijiang's 6 claws reached out from the vortexes, covering the demonic dragon spider's body. The claws flashed with a murderous aura, and they pierced through space and landed on the demonic dragon spider's body. If this is what you've got. The demonic dragon spider's body was suppressed, and it couldn't even move. However, it didn't seem to be afraid, and it said coldly, "What right do you have to stop me from breaking through space?" Following the nether draconic spider's words, one of its tentacles flicked slightly, and an extremely thin spider web suddenly appeared. As the spider web was gently raised, countless intertwined spider webs appeared within 100 miles of the collapsed space. Dijiang's 6 claws, 4 wings, and even the giant sorcerer god were all covered by the spider web. Unbelievable. Daoist sorcerer was shocked. He didn't expect the nether demonic dragon spider's ability to be so amazing. The spider silk that had just appeared was mixed in with the spatial collapse, and he was trapped by it without noticing it at all. Daoist sorcerer's shock didn't end there. Before he could use his divine ability to block it, the countless spider webs trembled slightly, and Dijiang's 6 claws that were falling on the demonic dragon spider shattered instantly. The spider web was sharper than a sword. As the spider web trembled, Dijiang's 4 wings and body began to crack, and Daoist sorcerer's body was about to be cut into pieces. Not only that, but the space within 100 miles was also about to be cut into pieces by the spider web. Too powerful. Daoist sorcerer exclaimed, and he hurriedly took a deep breath. His entire body shrunk rapidly, and at the same time, a bright green color appeared on his abdomen. The green color was like a seed that sprouted rapidly. When Daoist sorcerer's body shrunk and met the green color, there was a muffled boom, and Daoist sorcerer's body transformed into the torch dragon form again. So what if you transform again? The demonic dragon spider's cold voice was like a gust of cold wind. As long as you don't escape from my spider web domain, you won't be able to escape death. Huh, try me then. The torch dragon wasn't afraid of the spider web at all. Its body suddenly expanded, and not only did it charge toward the spider web, but its huge tail also transformed in the air and smashed toward the demonic dragon spider. The spider web landed on the torch dragon as expected, but the outcome this time was beyond the demonic dragon spider's expectations. Crack, crack, crack. The incredibly sharp spider web was broken by the torch dragon's body, and even more spider web was torn apart by its tail. A huge wave of air surged and landed on the demonic dragon spider's body. No, this is the Duanmu family's God-fiend puppet. The demonic dragon spider suddenly realized and exclaimed when it saw the spider web break inch by inch like broken cotton in the wind. Unfortunately, Daoist Witch didn't respond at all. The huge tail that landed on the demonic dragon spider's body was Daoist Witch's answer. Boom. The demonic dragon spider's entire body was flattened. It seemed that the demonic dragon spider's body that had been refined for countless years was no match for the god-fiend puppet. However, the moment its body was flattened, several spatial ripples appeared on the demonic dragon spider's tentacles. Although it was difficult for the demonic dragon spider, it still managed to escape from the torch dragon's tail. little blood spider. Daoist witch didn't force it and said coldly, lay down your butcher's knife and repent. However, before Taoist witch could finish his sentence, the nether demonic dragon spider appeared in another spot. Furthermore, as the nether demonic dragon spider emitted nether demonic aura from its abdomen, a foul wind suddenly blew. Above the previously shattered space, another strange domain was suddenly formed. It was as if there was a ghost in every inch of space within this domain, and every ghost was howling in agony. Daoist witch felt as if he had fallen into the depths of a sea of blood, and he couldn't help but feel a sense of fear that made him lose his soul. Give it a recommendation vote, bookmark it, or tip it. Thank you for all your support. Chapter 4733. Damn it. Daoist witch's eyes flashed with a dark green light as he saw the situation within the domain clearly. His expression changed as he cursed, Daoist Shao, you've misjudged me. This was because the space within 100 miles of Taoist witch was densely filled with all sorts of demon clan souls. These souls were completely red as if they had been sacrificed. Furthermore, these souls seemed to be moving randomly within the space, but every inch of space produced an inexplicable force. When these forces mixed together, they formed a force that even Taoist witch couldn't resist, binding Taoist witch tightly. Wasn't this the soul force that Daoist witch had been comprehending in seclusion? Daoist witch didn't expect to see the embryonic form of this soul force in the 3 continents. Of course, Daoist witch had seen all kinds of souls and knew clearly that these were the demons and humans that the nether demonic dragon spider had killed on its way to becoming a great sage. It was inevitable that he would be angry. The nether demonic dragon spider's soul power realm was indeed strange. It could even be said that ordinary people couldn't break it at all. However, to Daoist witch, who already knew and began to explore soul power, it was no longer a hopeless situation. Xiao Hua, who was far away, already knew that Daoist witch was enraged. Without hesitation, he ordered Daoist witch in his heart, kill. Seeing that Daoist witch was trapped, the nether demonic dragon spider sneered in his heart. A dark green light condensed around his body, and a crimson-red blood spider primordial spirit appeared in the light. The blood spider primordial spirit looked left and right, and a bloody aura swept across the trapped Daoist witch, Xiao Hua, Archdevil, and the black-armored Pentaceratops. Then, the blood spider primordial spirit flew out of the light, and the dark green light shot up into the sky like a pillar of light. Pa! The blood spider primordial spirit landed on a certain spot in the soul force realm, which was also the eye of the inexplicable soul formation. A clear sound like glass shattering was heard as the blood spider primordial spirit's soul force landed on it. When the soul force entered the soul formation, it immediately turned into several strands and passed through different points of the soul formation. It grew rapidly, and in the end, it formed several boundless forces that pounced towards Daoist witch. Although these strands of soul force hadn't gathered, Daoist witch could already feel the mysterious power that could destroy heaven and earth and souls. Daoist witch's body couldn't merge with the torch dragon god demon puppet anymore, and he floated out of the puppet like a fallen leaf. His frail body was like an ant in front of the enormous power. However, he didn't panic, and he said coldly, heaven and earth has its own primordial force, and it doesn't care about good or evil, good or evil, good or evil. It doesn't matter if it's life or death or life or death or death or life or death. If the heart of the heart, demonic life, life, evil, 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 evil life, life, death, death, life, death, 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 death. Reincarnation, reincarnation. Which life and death, 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 death's demonic. If you don't understand the true meaning of power and only know the power of power, you'll only be able to scratch the surface in the end. You'll only be able to put yourself on the brink of reincarnation between life and death. As he spoke, Daoist witch reached out his hand elegantly, and Yapen appeared in his hand. Yapen was different from before, and the tip of the pen flashed with emerald light like a blooming star. I may be weak, but my heart is firm. My Tao may be weak, but my wish is great. Daoist witch's mouth formed a green seal script, and he chanted softly, I'm willing to exchange my life for the death of the world. I'm willing to use my heart to summon the lost souls. As Daoist Witch chanted, Ye Pen casually pointed at a spot in the nameless soul formation. Swoosh! A speck of emerald light appeared from the soul formation, and the ferocious roaring soul immediately calmed down. A speck of emerald light appeared from the soul. Under normal circumstances, Ye Pen's soul power alone would be enough to allow the wandering soul to reincarnate. However, it was obvious that the soul was incomplete, and it would be difficult for it to reincarnate. However, this didn't affect Ye Bai's soul power at all. Like a spring breeze, the space within 100 miles was instantly filled with greenery as countless wandering souls calmed down. The soul power that had been forcefully extracted by the nether demonic dragon spider was completely wiped out by Daoist Wu's method of removing the firewood from under the cauldron. No. No way. The nether demonic dragon spider was so shocked that its most mysterious method was destroyed by Daoist Witch. At this moment, the emerald light from the nameless soul formation had already landed on the nether demonic dragon spider's body. As the emerald light appeared on the nether demonic dragon spider's body, the specks of dark marks of the nether exploded, and pieces of the nether demonic dragon spider's body collapsed. Putrid green liquid also seeped out of the nether demonic dragon spider's body. Damn it! The blood spider's primordial spirit cursed under its breath. It wanted to rush back to its body, but the vigorous life force blocked it once again. The blood spider's primordial spirit struggled several times but was unable to return. In the end, it sighed and said, "Forget it." The several tentacles of the blood spider's primordial spirit swayed, and an inexplicable space rippled, covering its primordial spirit. It was about to disappear. Daoist Witch was helpless when he saw this. The nether demonic dragon spider's innate space ability wasn't something he could compare to. If he wanted to block the nether demonic dragon spider's primordial spirit, he had to transform into Dijiang's body. However, a sudden change occurred. The suppression comparable to the heaven and earth's energy covered the sky, controlling the entire space. The blood spider's primordial spirit was also squeezed out of the nether demonic dragon's primordial spirit, appearing motionless. Moreover, the suppression didn't stop there. After crushing the space, it rushed out of the space once again. Xiao Hua knew that the Grand Mist Ancestor's invitation was most likely a trap, so he was prepared. Moreover, he also understood that the Kunlun Paradise's secret had been exposed. If the Grand Mist Ancestor wanted to kill him, he would definitely consider finding a way to restrain the Kunlun mirror. Of course, Xiao Hua had encountered a situation where he couldn't sense anything when the space was blocked. Therefore, before he rushed over to meet the Grand Mist Ancestor, Xiao Hua had ordered Daoist Witch and Archdevil Venerable Shi to escape from the space and hide in his body. Xiao Hua's worst-case scenario came true. The nether demonic dragon spider with the innate space ability actually found a place that could block space, and really blocked the Kunlun Paradise. Facing three peak 9th grade essence force opponents, Xiao Hua calmly released Daoist Witch and Archdevil Venerable Shi. Since Xiao Hua had invited Archdevil Venerable Shi out, he naturally planned to kill the two demonic beast race great saints and the Grand Mist Ancestor. Looking at the Grand Mist Ancestor's pale face, Xiao Hua sneered coldly. With a wave of his hand, a lightning palm several mu in size fell, firmly covering the space around the Grand Mist Ancestor. Moreover, the space around the Grand Mist Ancestor was filled with violent lightning energy, tearing at the Grand Mist Ancestor's injured body. Xiao Hua wanted to kill the Grand Mist Ancestor. Gift it, and thank you for all your support. Chapter 47-34. The Grand Mist Ancestor narrowed his eyes as he looked at the Archdevil Ancestor Shi and the black-armored Pentaceratops, as well as Daoist Wu and the nether demonic dragon spider. He raised his hand and clapped. Boom! A black and white giant hand appeared. Wherever the giant hand passed, all the lightning energy was erased. Even when the giant hand clashed with Xiao Hua's lightning technique, it was not at a disadvantage. Rumble. The lightning giant hand collided with the black and white giant hand. Tens of thousands of lightning were annihilated by the black and white light, and the black and white light were also obliterated by the lightning energy. The entire space shook, and countless space fragments drifted down like fragments. Xiao Hua was slightly stunned and asked curiously, Grand Mist Brat, so your strength has already reached the peak of 9th grade origin energy? It seems. You have been concealing your strength all this time. The Grand Mist Ancestor's face flushed red as if he was suffering from the backlash of his magic power. He said coldly, when this old man was reigning over the 3 mainlands, I had never seen your shadow. How do you know this old man's strength? To tell you the truth, Xiao Hua, you're just lucky. Which part of you can't compare to this old man? Is that so? Xiao Hua smiled faintly and stretched out his right hand. His index finger and middle finger joined together, and a sword light split the void and pierced towards the Grand Mist Ancestor. Before the sword light appeared, the space around the Grand Mist Ancestor had already started to emit faint sword light. A series of bubbles had already enveloped the Grand Mist Ancestor. The Grand Mist Ancestor did not seem to panic. His hands moved slightly, and black and white halos appeared on his left and right hands. These halos formed a semicircle and blocked in front of the Grand Mist Ancestor. The halos shuttled back and forth like fish, intertwining black and white, and blocked the sword light. The Grand Mist Ancestor said, when this old man threw you into the West Sea's eye, I never thought that you would come out alive. If this old man had thought a little more and stretched out a finger, you wouldn't be here now. That's right. If you stretched out an extra finger, you would have saved your life. You are the one who killed your savior. Xiao Hua sneered. But speaking up to here, Xiao Hua sighed again. Alas, why is this Xiao telling you this? That pitiful Su Zhuoyang, Master Qing Chen, Taoist Leopard, Chu Muhuan, and the others, weren't they your saviors? They died for you, but you don't remember anything. It can also be said that you killed them. Kakaka. The Grand Mist Ancestor laughed maniacally. While he was laughing, Xiao Hua's sword chi flew out and hit the black-white light barrier. Although Xiao Hua's sword chi was unparalleled, and its power could pierce through space, the black-white light barrier blocked his sword chi in the blink of an eye. Even the sharpness of the sword light was unable to cause a single ripple. Grand Mist Ancestor was extremely pleased with himself as he said, Xiao Hua, you're wrong. They didn't die to save me, they died for their greed. However, their souls have already fused with mine, so I'm living for their sake. This was enough to make them proud. Thinking back to all those years ago, I've suffered so much for the sake of the Dao sect's rise. Now, all of this glory has actually fallen onto your head. How can this old man endure this? Think about it again. You were only a nascent soul realm cultivator back then. How dare you set up a blood steel in the Bronze Pillar Nation? What qualifications do you have to represent my Dao sect? I've also seen that blood steel, and it's just so. However, those Confucian cultivators actually turned a blind eye to your blood steel? If they could suppress me, who was at the Grand Ascension stage, why couldn't they kill you, who was at the 4th grade? Not to mention the Immortal Palace, as long as any one of the 100 schools of thought's literary sages made a move, how could you be where you are today? If you're not lucky, then what is it? Think about it again, even the sovereigns don't dare to casually approach the Black Ruins Mountain's heavenly prison. You actually managed to survive after falling into it. Not only did you survive, but your cultivation also increased greatly, reaching the 9th grade. At this time, those dogs-hit Confucian cultivators are probably regretting their actions to the point that their intestines turn green. If they want to kill you now, how is it possible? It's fine if your cultivation has improved greatly. But you also have the Kunlun Immortal Realm. In the end, those mediocre cultivators were influenced by you, and their cultivation also improved greatly, allowing you to create the Fortune Gate. Fortune Gate, Fortune Gate, what a vulgar name, how can it be compared to my sky-bearing palace? Your Fortune Gate's disciple should be my sky-bearing palace's disciple. With the Fortune Gate, even if Immortal Emperor Go Chen wants to send immortal generals to kill you, he will have to be cautious. He's afraid of getting burned, right? Tell me, if you're not lucky, then what is it? I really don't understand. Could it be that you're the Heavenly Tao's illegitimate child? The Grand Mist Ancestor really had a bellyful of bitter water, and only now did he pour it out without any fear. His slightly red face actually turned red. Moreover, the black and white halo's power increased greatly. Hearing the Grand Mist Ancestor's words, Xiaohua couldn't help cursing inwardly. Damn Prince Lan, I'm afraid you've leaked many of my Fortune Gate secrets. The Grand Mist Ancestor even knows the secret of me falling into the heavenly prison. However, Xiaohua didn't refute. He only narrowed his eyes and looked at the black and white halo in front of the Grand Mist Ancestor. He understood that the Grand Mist Ancestor had refined the Yin-Yang illustration handbook and had created a rare defensive technique. Even Immortal Emperor Go Qin couldn't defeat it. This technique was similar to the profound yellow notice of the Tai Ching Palace Master. If Xiaohua didn't take out some tricks, he wouldn't be able to break through it. Moreover, since the Grand Mist Ancestor had already said what was in his heart, there must be more powerful tricks waiting for Xiaohua. The Grand Mist Ancestor definitely wouldn't let Xiaohua walk out of this immature world alive. While thinking, Xiaohua rubbed his hands again. Streaks of lightning appeared between his hands like flowers blooming. 5 Qi Righteous Lightning, 9 Heavens Divine Lightning, 3 Corpses Yin Lightning, Xian Ming Devil Lightning, and Triple Light Amplifying Lightning all rushed out at the same time, transforming into a 9-colored lightning hand in front of Xiaohua. The moment this lightning hand appeared, hundreds of millions of lightning bolts appeared in the air. These lightning bolts were sharper than billions of flying swords. When they fell into the black and white halo, a kind of absolute righteousness, majesty, and justice rushed into the black and white halo. Within the halo, whenever the black and white light came into contact with the 9-colored lightning bolts, they were dyed with a brilliant light, and the black and white colors were swept away. The pressure and justice were irresistible, and in an instant, the black and white halo's defense was destroyed. The lightning hand that broke through the defense was like a fist that broke through a wall. Boom! It landed on the Grand Mist Ancestor's body. Under the tremendous force and majesty, the Grand Mist Ancestor's protective golden light barrier was shattered. The giant hand went straight for the Grand Mist Ancestor's body. Chapter 4735. Woo Woo. Seeing that the Grand Mist Ancestor was about to die, a strange fluctuation emerged from his body. His body that was originally bound by the lightning hand started to distort and fade. It was as if it was being washed away by a storm and gradually disappeared. Xiaohua was shocked. He looked at the disappearing lightning hand in disbelief. He had no idea what was going on. Huh, Xiaohua brat. I didn't expect your strength to be so terrifying. To tell you the truth, if it was before the appearance of the Star Moon Palace, this old man definitely wouldn't be able to dodge your attack. Not far away, the fluctuation appeared again and the Grand Mist Ancestor's voice sounded. It's a pity that this old man has a Xiantian physique. This Xiantian physique is the Heavenly Tao, and the Heavenly Tao is everywhere. How can you kill this old man? After the appearance of the Star Moon Palace, this old man's heaven-earth realm has reached major completion and even refined the 100 Beasts flag. Why would this old man waste time fighting you one-on-one? Along with the Grand Mist Ancestor's voice, the arrogant expression on his face appeared once again. However, this time, there was a palm-sized flag in his hand. Wasn't this the 100 Beasts flag that the Grand Mist Ancestor had refined in the Star Moon Palace? Humph, you should thank that senior. If he didn't stop me, this Xiaohua would have killed you in the Star Moon Palace. Xiaohua frowned when he saw that the lightning technique and life and death force were unable to trap the Grand Mist Ancestor. He replied coldly and looked at the 100 Beasts flag. This flag was colorful and its design was very strange. There were many strange beasts embroidered on it. The flag flickered in the clear light, and the numerous beasts flew out as if they were floating in the air. With the 100 Beasts flag in his hand, the Grand Mist Ancestor calmed down and sneered, "Xiaohua, your time of death has come. Your good luck has also come to an end. This old man doesn't know how you brought these 2 cultivators here, but this old man is not afraid to tell you that even if you bring 100 more of them, you won't be able to escape death today. As he spoke, the Grand Mist Ancestor spat out a mouthful of clear air that landed on the 100 Beasts flag. The beasts on the 100 Beasts flag slowly floated into the air, and faint whistling noises could be heard as the aura of the beasts emerged from the flag. Wang, wang. The Grand Mist Ancestor's body began to vibrate. Soon after, a white light emerged from the bottom of his feet and turned into a clear stream that rushed into the top of his head. Then, it appeared at the top of his head and turned into 3 clouds. At the same time, a black turbid light emerged from the top of his head and turned into a turbid flow that fell into the gushing spring. Then, it appeared at the gushing spring and turned into 9 hills. His entire body turned illusory again. It was either a star, a mountain, a river, or the land. All kinds of strange phenomena appeared at the illusory spot like flowing lights. Boom. The flowing lights rushed into the swaying 100 Beasts flag in midair. The 100 Beasts flag rumbled loudly, and a pitch-black door appeared as the flag's corners fluttered. Ayo-oh-oh-oh-oh. Ear-piercing cries of beasts resounded. Wave after wave of exceedingly powerful auras surged out from the black hole. Then, under Xiao Hua's stupefied gaze, a total of 99 exotic beasts spread their wings, swam their bodies, and danced their hooves, surrounding Xiao Hua. The appearance of nearly 100 primordial beasts sealed off the space around Xiao Hua. Not to mention sight, even divine sense was unable to penetrate through. A ferocious aura that was at the peak of the 9th grade of origin energy gushed out from every single one of the primordial beasts. Their dark green eyes, their large bloody mouths, and their dense white bone spikes were all emitting an aura of annihilation. Seeing Xiao Hua's shocked expression, the Grand Mist Ancestor laughed loudly. His figure appeared in the Yin-Yang illustration manual's Heaven and Earth realm. He raised his hand and pointed at Xiao Hua, brat, do you see? This is this emperor's true strength. Think about how ignorant you were at the Longevity Town. Think about how you humiliated this emperor in the Lingyun side hall. This emperor feels disdain from the bottom of his heart. Because this emperor has the absolute strength to kill all of you in an instant. Yet, facing such a strong enemy, you still. Before the Grand Mist Ancestor could finish speaking, Xiao Hua's shocked expression slowly disappeared. Without another word, Xiao Hua slapped the top of his head. Boom. A pillar of lightning shot into the sky, and 101/8 tribulation scattered nascent souls flew out along with this pillar of lightning. Ah! Seeing more than 108th tribulation scattered nascent souls fly out, and each of them was at the peak of 9th grade origin energy, suppressing the beast's aura, the Grand Mist Ancestor stuttered, What is going on? Xiao Hua smiled faintly and said, Didn't you say that even if this Xiao brought 100 cultivators with the same cultivation as this Xiao, it would still be difficult to escape death today? I'm sorry, this Xiao just happened to bring 101. How is this possible? The Grand Mist Ancestor roared, How can you use the Kunlun Paradise? How can you know the secret of the Kunlun Paradise? Xiao Hua sneered, and then said to the 108th tribulation scattered nascent souls, Kill. Yes. The 108th tribulation scattered nascent souls answered in unison, and each of them urged the 9th tribulation divine lightning to fight with the beasts. The 99 beasts were also wild and hard to find. Seeing that there was an enemy, they were eager to give it a try, and roared as they pounced over. Seeing 3/8 tribulation scattered nascent souls besieging a single beast, and that beast's originally solid body rapidly dimmed, the Grand Mist Ancestor's heart felt as if it was dripping blood. He roared, Xiao Hua brat, can you be any more despicable? Why can't I? Xiao Hua shrugged innocently and said, If you want to see, this Xiao will let you see. While speaking, Xiao Hua once again slaps the top of his head. Boom, boom, 2 soft sounds resound. 2 more 8th tribulation scattered nascent souls fly out and land in front of that prehistoric beast. The two scattered nascent souls urged their hands. Puff, puff, several heavenly flower-like flames descend from the sky and land precisely on that prehistoric beast's body. The prehistoric beast howls in grief and turns into a faint shadow that flies back to the fluttering 100 beasts flag in midair. Meanwhile, these 5/8 tribulation scattered nascent souls look at each other and, without even looking at each other, they all rush into the battle. This is really despicable and shameless, ah. Damn it, damn it, damn it. The Grand Mist Ancestor was flustered and exasperated. He roared, and his whole body suddenly transformed into a mass of inexplicable stars, pouncing on Xiao Hua, and his mouth still shouted, "In that case, die. This emperor will kill you, and all of this will be emperors." Perceiving that inexplicable cluster of stars pressing down like a mountain, a suffocating feeling was born from Xiao Hua's body. Not to mention breathing, even his true essence, magic power, and so on were all unable to move a muscle. Chapter 47-36. Xiantian Dao Body? Dao? Dao. Xiao Hua suddenly came to his senses, and he frowned as he looked at the star cluster. Hundreds of stars streaked across the sky, and there was a trace of heavenly Dao's aura. Xiao Hua rubbed his hands together almost without thinking. Boom. A sound rang out, and a water current as vast as the sea appeared in midair, crazily crashing into the cluster of stars. However, the moment the stream of water came into contact with the starlight outside the star cluster, it collapsed and turned into pure origin energy that fell into the star cluster. Thus, the star cluster's trajectory became clearer. Haha. Grand Mist Ancestor's voice came from the star cluster. I am Dao, and all magic spells are nothing in front of Dao. My will is the heavenly Dao, and wherever my will passes, all living things will have to face tribulation. Xiao Hua, you little brat, quickly face the tribulation. Following Grand Mist Ancestor's words, Xiao Hua felt as if the true essence in his body was being grabbed by a giant hand, and it was about to leave his body. However, the moment the true essence passed through his skin, Xiao Hua's body produced an unparalleled suction force that firmly locked the true essence in place. Although Xiao Hua couldn't circulate his true essence, Grand Mist Ancestor couldn't take it away. What's going on? Grand Mist Ancestor was a little stunned. Xiao Hua naturally understood that Grand Mist Ancestor had a Xiantian Dao body, and he had a half-god physique. How could his true essence be taken away by someone with a Xiantian Dao body? Haha. Xiao Hua laughed loudly. Grand Mist Ancestor, your Xiantian Dao body is only a so-so. While speaking, Xiao Hua raised his hand and slapped the top of his head. Boom! 5-colored true essence rushed out, and Xiao Hua's body gradually turned into a sword. In a short moment, a giant 5-colored sword appeared in front of the star cluster. Damn it! Can't we have a good fight? Grand Mist Ancestor was speechless. He had used his Xiantian Dao body to activate the Yin-Yang Illustration Manual's heaven and earth boundary to restrain Xiao Hua's magic power. However, Xiao Hua saw that Dao body's magic power was useless and didn't want to play magic with him, and directly used his Confucian Dao body's true essence. Seeing the vast aura on the giant sword and the chains of inscriptions on the tip of the sword, it was fighting against the trajectory of heaven and earth in his star. Grand Mist Ancestor was filled with regret. If he had Immortal Emperor Go Chen's golden throne, he would have been able to kill Xiao Hua here. Of course, this was only an assumption. The Grand Mist Ancestor absolutely didn't know that even if he obtained Immortal Emperor Go Chen's golden throne, he wouldn't be 100% sure that he could restrain Xiao Hua. As long as the Grand Mist Ancestor took out the golden chair, Xiao Hua would definitely activate the green seal text. If the Grand Mist Ancestor was using a soul armament, then Xiao Hua was definitely using the power of the moon and stars. As the saying goes, it's never a burden to have more skills. Boom. The giant sword was like a celestial palace. It landed on the cluster of stars that represented the heavenly Tao of Taoism. Countless profoundness was generated from the collision. Space was destroyed and reborn inch by inch. The force was like a flower blooming and withering. Countless lights and shadows were like shattered mirrors that exploded in midair. The chains of inscriptions shattered, and the trajectory of the stars shattered. In the space of several hundred zhang, heaven and earth were annihilated, and the imbalance of order actually evolved. Xiaohua's 5 qi unifications had already condensed the will of the 3 flowers. At this moment, he was already at the peak of Confucian cultivation. It was difficult to surpass him. As for the Grand Mist Ancestor, his magic power was even more profound. His understanding of Tao was also difficult for ordinary people to reach. The two of them should have been evenly matched, a match for each other. However, the Grand Mist Ancestor wanted to use the advantage of his innate Tao physique to suppress Xiaohua's physical body. Unfortunately, he encountered a half-god physique. With the half-god physique's giant sword, it was naturally a level higher than the innate Tao physique's heavenly Tao technique. The space between the two of them showed signs of collapsing. Then, strands of human order slowly emerged. It was the tenacity of the human race, but the collapsing heavenly Tao was still silent. The Grand Mist Ancestor's heart thumped. He knew that things were bad. He hurriedly activated his innate Tao physique and rushed towards the 3 clouds and 9 hills. Unfortunately, how could Xiaohua let him do as he wished? Puff. Xiaohua opened his mouth, and a fist-sized sword gourd flew out. Xiaohua didn't need to move at all. The 8th tribulation scattered nascent soul nearest to Xiaohua raised his hand and pointed. Whoosh. 2 rays of spirit-slaying light flew out. One landed on the 3 clouds, and the other landed on the 9 hills. Puff puff. The clouds shattered, the hills collapsed, and the heaven-earth mysterious realm formed by the yin-yang illustration mirror was immediately broken. The Grand Mist Ancestor's figure stopped in midair. He looked at the clear air above his head and the turbid air below his feet in disbelief. He really couldn't understand how the yin-yang illustration mirror, which was indestructible, could be broken so easily. Whoosh whoosh. The Grand Mist Ancestor panicked. Black and white halos appeared around his body again and fell towards the yin-yang illustration mirror. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Around the yin-yang illustration, 10/8 tribulation scattered nascent souls appeared. Before these 10/8 tribulation scattered nascent souls had stabilized themselves, 10 powerful lightning bolts rushed towards the Grand Mist Ancestor from all directions. The Grand Mist Ancestor naturally didn't expect Xiaohua, who had always been abnormally merciful, to suddenly gang up on him. Moreover, these 10/8 tribulation scattered nascent souls were comparable to the peak of the 9th grade. Moreover, the heavenly Tao within his innate Tao physique had already collapsed. Even he couldn't control his magic power. How could he be a match for these 10/8 tribulation scattered nascent souls? The lightning bolts fell, and as expected, the Grand Mist Ancestor's innate Tao physique turned into ashes. He didn't even have time to scream. However, the moment the Grand Mist Ancestor's heavenly Tao physique was destroyed, his primordial spirit swayed and landed on the yin-yang illustration handbook. However, Xiaohua was already prepared. When the 8th tribulation scattered nascent soul made a move, his figure had already teleported to the side of the yin-yang illustration mirror. 9 colored thunderbolts flashed between his hands. Rumble. Amidst the huge tremors, the thunderbolt technique fell, wanting to grab the yin-yang illustration mirror. However, the Grand Mist Ancestor had already entrusted his primordial spirit to the yin-yang illustration mirror. His speed of return was far faster than Xiaohua's lightning hand. Before the 9-colored lightning could grab the yin-yang illustration mirror, the Grand Mist Ancestor's primordial spirit had already disappeared into the mirror. The black and white light on the yin-yang illustration mirror flashed, and it actually broke free from the spirit-slaying origin light and the lightning hand. It rushed into the void and gradually disappeared. The yin-yang illustration mirror was a unique treasure of the 3 continents. Since the Grand Mist Ancestor was willing to cut off all means of retreat, Xiaohua naturally had to stop him. Xiaohua roared, "Not good." Chapter 47-37. Xiao Hua's figure flashed with lightning as he chased after the yin-yang illustration. However, at this moment, a sudden change occurred. A suppression comparable to the power of the heavens and the earth appeared in all directions and controlled the entire space. An extremely familiar aura seeped out from the suppression. 9 continents cauldrons? 9 continents great array? Could it be that the Immortal Palace is laying down the 9 continents great array on the hidden Immortal continent? Xiao Hua's figure was also suppressed. He was a little surprised and secretly cried out, "But, this... isn't this space in the 1,000 demons' sacred realm? How can the 9 continents great array suppress this place?" Xiao Hua's figure couldn't move, and the yin-yang illustration mirror was naturally suppressed in the space. The Grand Mist Ancestor's panicked face squeezed out from the yin-yang illustration mirror. However, when he saw that Xiao Hua and everything in the space couldn't move, he was relieved. The 9 continents great array's suppression didn't stop at all. After crushing the space, it rushed out of the space again. Obviously, it was going to seal the entire land. Hee hee. Xiao Hua looked at the Grand Mist Ancestor's relaxed expression and sneered. He knew in his heart that he had already refined the 9 continents cauldrons and was familiar with the 9 continents great array. At this time, he didn't dare to act rashly for fear of destroying the array. Once the 9 continents great array was completed, Xiao Hua could easily break it with the true qi in his chest. At that time, the Grand Mist Ancestor and the others would naturally be beheaded. However, as soon as the suppressive force charged out of space, a wave of chaos arose from the suppressive force. After that, countless broken chains of inscriptions emerged from the void, and they scattered and transformed into countless strands of righteous energy that vanished. The entire space was set off a monstrous space storm, and the seemingly endless boundary disappeared in an instant. In the chaos, Xiao Hua sensed the existence of the Shenhua continent again. The moment the boundary restriction went out of control, whoosh. Whether it was the dragon form primordial spirit of the black armored pentaceratops, the blood spider primordial spirit of the nether demonic dragon spider, or even the yin-yang illustration mirror, they all tore the boundary gap and escaped into it at the same time, about to disappear. Damn it! Xiao Hua was furious, but he was extremely helpless. Although his strength was far superior to the 2 demons and he had more than 108th tribulation nascent souls at his disposal, the entire space had gone out of control, and he was powerless to stop the 2 primordial spirits and the yin-yang illustration mirror. Xiao Hua was about to fail on the verge of success. Ga. A clear cry that was both familiar and unfamiliar to Xiao Hua came from outside the realm. Then, he saw that outside the shattered realm, a huge spatial rift was torn open, and 2 colorful wings came out. Then, a familiar demon body squeezed in from the spatial rift. Wasn't this the Great Sage Hall's first Great Sage, the heaven-defying Thunder Phoenix? However, this heaven-defying Thunder Phoenix's aura wasn't as sharp as before. Instead, it was somewhat bloody and vast. It even gave off a soul-piercing killing intent. Fengwu? Why are you here? Daoist Witch looked at the huge phoenix in front of him in a daze and asked in confusion. No. You're not Fengwu. Your aura isn't right. Haha. The monster that looked exactly like Fengwu glanced at Daoist Witch and Demon Sovereign Shi before turning to Xiao Hua. He said meaningfully, "Xiao Hua, long time no see. Phoenix celestial body?" Xiao Hua was inexplicably shocked and pleasantly surprised. However, he didn't have to ask further. From the Phoenix celestial body's mind, waves of memories flooded Xiao Hua like waves. Fortunately, Xiao Hua was experienced in this kind of transfer of memories. He hurriedly entered the space with his mind and transformed into Jade Archive Xiao Hua. He sat down cross-legged and received the memories. Jade Archive Xiao Hua couldn't help but laugh. Mystic Essence Space? Space Power? Space Rule? There's a mystic called Yi Jian? Phoenix Celestial Body, oh, no, it should be called Huang Tong. This experience is really mysterious. Xiao Hua's mind entered the space, but the phoenix celestial body didn't stop. His eyes were like lightning as he glanced at where the mystic armored pentaceratops and the nether demonic dragon spider disappeared. His two phoenix claws reached into the air, and two spatial rifts immediately appeared. When the phoenix claws reached in and grabbed out, the dragon manifestation primordial spirit and the blood spider primordial spirit were caught in his hands. Oh my! Demon Sovereign Sure was shocked and shouted, "Who are you? Why are you so powerful?" "Huh, I know." Daoist Witch laughed and said, "Isn't this the Fortune Gate's 10th master that fellow Daoist Xiao mentioned?" Ga. The phoenix celestial body let out a clear cry and opened its mouth. A mouthful of strange demonic chi fell and covered the two primordial spirits. Then, under the two demonic race great saints' frenzied struggle, the phoenix celestial body easily swallowed the two primordial spirits into its stomach. Unbelievable, unbelievable. Daoist Witch praised when he saw that the two demonic race great saints' primordial spirits couldn't resist the phoenix celestial body. At this time, Xiaohua's mind had returned. He raised his hand and grabbed the 100 Beasts flag. With a wave of his hand, he collected the souls of the strange beasts that were killed by the 8th tribulation scattered nascent souls. He shouted, "Huang Tong, can we still catch up to the Grand Mist Ancestor?" "Huh, fellow Daoist, don't worry." The phoenix celestial body laughed and said, "If that primordial spirit's mystic artifact wasn't too powerful, why would fellow Daoist need to make a move?" "Good." Xiaohua praised, "Fellow Daoists, quickly return to your positions. We'll talk after we kill the Grand Mist Ancestor." "Yes." Everyone responded in unison. Xiaohua's mind rolled and sent everything in the interface into the space. He then said to Huang Tong, "Fellow Daoist, please." Whoosh. Huang Tong, the phoenix battle body, flapped her wings, and a spatial crack appeared. Xiaohua followed Huang Tong into the spatial crack. Light and shadow overflowed, and the yin-yang illustration appeared in front of him. Xiaohua sneered. Without saying a word, he used the fury of thunder. A phantom of the immortal slaying stage appeared in the void and slashed at the yin-yang illustration. Boom. On the yin-yang illustration, the black and white light shattered and the Grand Mist Ancestor's primordial spirit appeared in a panic. "Fellow Daoist Xiao, you and I are originally from the human race. Why are you so anxious to kill each other?" "Changyu, Prince Lan." Xiaohua said two names indifferently and said to Huang Tong, "Fellow Daoist, you can make your move now." Sigh. Hearing Xiaohua say Changyu and Prince Lan's names, the Grand Mist Ancestor knew that his plan in the Fortune Gate had already fallen into Xiaohua's eyes. He sighed inwardly and wanted to say something, but the phoenix celestial body reached out with its sharp claws. A force that made his bones go soft and his tendons go numb fell through the shattered black and white halo. It actually grabbed his primordial spirit out of the yin-yang illustration. Chapter 4738. This. How is this possible? Grand Mist Ancestor cried out in disbelief. However, Huang Tong had no intention of answering him. She opened her beak and a strange demonic aura descended. Grand Mist Ancestor's primordial spirit instantly fainted and did not move. He was swallowed by Huang Tong in a moment. Haha. Xiaohua clapped his hands and laughed, Grand Mist Ancestor has finally been killed. I have gotten rid of a big problem. No. Huang Tong suddenly opened her mouth and said, "This is not the complete primordial spirit from before. This guy is cunning." When he was escaping, he seemed to have used a secret technique of the Dao sect to split a part of his primordial spirit. Now, even I can't detect it. Damn it. Xiaohua's smile disappeared and he punched his fists. The heavens are unfair. Why do they always let this guy escape? There is always a way out. Huang Tong shrugged her wings and laughed. Fellow cultivator is proficient in space laws and space escape techniques. From here, you should be able to return to Xiao country, right? Xiaohua asked with a smile. We need to eliminate Grand Mist Ancestors' forces first. We don't want any changes. Huang Tong said proudly, not to mention within the realm, even if it is to cross realms, I can do it. Good. Xiaohua laughed, then let's go. Just as Xiaohua said this, his body suddenly trembled and he was stunned. A moment later, he stuttered and asked, You said you can tear open the boundary? Are you sure you have the power to tear the realm? Of course I don't have the power to tear the realm, but does crossing realms require the power to tear the realm? Huang Tong laughed. In the Xianyuan space, as long as there is a realm dimension, I can use space escape techniques from this realm to cross over to other realms. What is a realm dimension? Xiaohua was puzzled. However, after a moment, he understood and said with some distress, Oh, I understand. It's the location of the realm. But I don't know the realm dimension of the 10,000 demon realm. The aura of the realm is also possible. Huang Tong smiled and said, At this moment, fellow Taoist doesn't know what the spatial laws are, and you might not know what the spatial escape technique is. After I return to fellow Taoist's body, after some time, fellow Taoist will naturally have my Xian technique divine ability. Good. Xiaohua claps his hands and says, For now, there's no need to say anything more. Let's go to Xiao country first. I will tell you the general situation of the 3 continents later. In just a moment, Huang Tong already knew. He smiled and waved his claw. Another spatial rift appeared and he smiled. Fellow cultivator, please. Xiaohua flew out with Huang Tong. Wasn't that where the hidden immortal continent was? Xiaohua scanned with his divine sense and was immediately overjoyed. This is the hidden immortal continent, not far from Xiao Empire. Damn it, I was wondering why I couldn't figure out the direction. I thought I was born with no sense of direction. Now it seems that it's because of you. Look, now that you're back, I can immediately recognize the direction. Huang Tong thought for a moment and nodded. That's possible. Because I've always been in the Xianyuan space, cultivating the space law and the space escape technique, I'm very particular about the dimension. Perhaps because I left, I took away your innate ability. All right. Xiaohua looked proud and cupped his hands. Since I'm here, I'll go over myself and see how it goes. Fellow cultivator, you can go back first. Let I comprehend for a few days. Let's see if your divine abilities are useful. Be careful. Huang Tong said worriedly. Although I'm your clone, I've been away for a long time. Also, those divine abilities from other worlds might not be useful in this world. The special thing is that I am me, and you are still you. After a long time, you'll definitely be able to use this divine ability. But after a short time, if you use it recklessly, you'll definitely suffer a backlash and have problems. I have a few clones. I believe you already know. This little bit of caution. I still know. Xiaohua smiled. I'm just comprehending. When it's time to use it, I still need to rely on you. Go home first. AI. Huang Tong looked at Xiaohua and didn't speak for a long time. After a while, he said, It's been hundreds of thousands of years. I didn't expect that I'd finally return home. As he spoke, Huang Tong let out a long howl. The sound shook the 9 heavens. The huge wings flapped, and the demon body that was hundreds of feet tall actually pounced into Xiaohua's body that was only tens of feet tall. Following Huang Tong's return, a kind of tears flowed, a kind of emotion, a kind of eagerness to return home surged in Xiaohua's heart like a flood. AI, leaving home when young and returning when old, the accent of the hometown has not changed. Xiaohua couldn't help but think of a poem by Confucian cultivators. He secretly sighed and recited, I really didn't expect Huang Tong's experience to be so bizarre. I thought that he simply fell into the void that day. Who would have thought that just as he fell into the void, he was sucked into the void crack? At that time, his strength was too weak. He didn't even have fourth grade essence energy. How could he escape from the void crack? As a result, he actually escaped into another world through the void crack. Damn it, Feng Buping's essence soul was actually not completely destroyed. He also left a trace of it in that mystic energy space. Mystic cultivator, what a wonderful cultivation method this was. This boundless world really had all kinds of strange things. Oh, from Huang Tong's memories, that young man called Yi Jian was also a human with fate. He actually had such a magnificent life. Looks like I'm not the only one with good luck in this world. Not to mention Yi Jian, just the Grand Mist ancestor was like a cockroach that couldn't be killed. In the end, he still wasn't completely killed. Who knows what kind of trouble he'll cause in the future. Xiao Hua smacked his lips and flew towards the Shao Empire. As he flew, he continued to ponder, there are truly too many humans in this world who are born out of luck. However, how many of them can become brilliant stars and hang high in the sky of the human race? The guy who was the most opposite of Yi Jian also fought with Yi Jian for his entire life. But in the end, didn't he also fail on the verge of success? It's a pity that when Yi Jian's cultivation reached the final stage, Huang Tong actually sensed my aura. That's why he resolutely left Yi Jian and hurriedly returned. Hiss. Thinking up to here, Xiao Hua's figure suddenly stopped, and his face once again revealed a look of understanding. A feeling of understanding arose in his heart, and he secretly cried out in his heart, "This Xiao understands now." The void where the phoenix celestial body fell that day was nothing. If I wait until my cultivation deepens, I can naturally retrieve the phoenix celestial body from the void. But that was only a few hundred years before the Star Moon Palace appeared. Time was nothing in front of the Star Moon Palace. It was also because the Star Moon Palace had to pass through the realm where the four great continents were located that a space storm or a time storm was created in the void. The phoenix celestial body and Feng Buping's remnant soul coincidentally fell into it and were dragged into a different realm. This created Yi Jian and Jiang Haochen. This realm doesn't seem to be in the celestial realm that Fairy Xing you mentioned. Why is even the law of time different? Chapter 4739. As for how Huang Tong sensed my aura just now. Xiao Hua pinched his chin again and thought, it's probably because Xianhong finished his discussion, so the so-called treasure ship naturally returned to the upper realm. When the treasure ship left the three continents, it inevitably set off space and time waves. When the world-destroying Mayfly was sent to the three continents, it must have torn the void between the three continents and the Shenyuan space. Coincidentally, on the hidden Immortal continent, Immortal Emperor Go Chen was setting up the great array of the 9 provinces, tearing open the border of the realm. On the other side, in the Shenyuan space, Yi Jian was also making the final breakthrough, tearing the realm apart with his spatial magic. With these three together, it's enough for Huang Tong to return. It's not that I don't know, the world is really wonderful. If I hadn't heard of Xuanhong's discussion, even Su Ji and Fairy Xing Yu wouldn't know the secrets of this world. As Xiao Hua spoke, a long whistle suddenly came from the distance. The Thunderbolt Immortal's divine sense swept over like a wave. Xiao Hua was stunned. He raised his head and looked in the direction of the Thunderbolt Immortal, somewhat puzzled. But then, Xiao Hua shouted angrily, "How is this possible? How did I go astray again? I thought that I had no sense of direction because the Phoenix celestial body was not here. Now that the Phoenix celestial body has returned, he is proficient in spatial escape techniques and is naturally very sensitive to directions. But now that he's inside my body, how could I possibly fly off course? Forget it, it seems that I was born with a bad sense of direction. It has nothing to do with the loss of the Phoenix celestial body." As he spoke, Xiao Hua changed his direction and flew towards the Thunderbolt Immortal. Seeing that he was close, the Thunderbolt Immortal raised his voice and said, "Fellow Daoist, what was that aura just now? Why did I feel that it was strange yet familiar? And why did the phoenix cry sound exactly the same as the phoenix wudong?" Haha. Xiao Hua laughed and said, guess? The Thunderbolt Immortal glanced at Xiao Hua and replied, if I could guess, why would I ask you? Xiao Hua was a little stunned. He looked at the Thunderbolt Immortal's eyes and said curiously, fellow Taoist seems to have some humanity. Don't interrupt. The Thunderbolt Immortal did not hesitate to interrupt Xiao Hua and asked, tell me, what was that aura just now? Haha. Xiao Hua smiled again, because the Thunderbolt Immortal's eyes were filled with impatience. Although this expression looked somewhat unnatural, it was still a budding human nature. Xiao Hua said happily, looks like Princess Qingqing isn't completely useless. What does this have to do with Qingqing? Thunderbolt Immortal asked curiously. No. Xiao Hua hastily replied. Our Fortune Gate's 10th Old Master has returned. Ah. There really is a 10th Master. The Thunderbolt Immortal was astonished. He cried out, hurry up and have him come out to greet me, the second master of the sect. There's no need to rush. Xiao Hua waved his hand and said, after I finish dealing with the matters of the Shao Empire, I will let him meet with you. All right. Thunderbolt Reverend nodded. After which, the two of them flew towards Shao country. Xiao Hua asked about Princess Qingqing with concern. It was within Xiao Hua's expectations. Princess Qingqing didn't do anything out of line. She even accompanied the Thunderbolt Immortal every day. Of course, with Princess Qingqing's scheming mind, she wouldn't make the Thunderbolt Immortal impatient. She even made the Thunderbolt Immortal feel that Princess Qingqing was very obedient. The bad impression in his heart was greatly reduced. Fuck. Xiao Hua rubbed his chin as he listened. This Princess Qingqing wouldn't really become a good person, right? However, when he thought of the word good person, Xiao Hua laughed inwardly. How could there be a distinction between good and bad people in this world? In the eyes of Confucian cultivators, he was probably a bad person, right? In the eyes of Taoists, all Confucian cultivators were bad people, right? Princess Qingqing wasn't necessarily a bad person. It was just that she went against Princess Xia, which made him feel that she was a bad person. Of course, Xiao Hua didn't know whether Princess Qingqing had done anything outrageous in the past. However, the fact that Princess Qingqing had killed a Dao sect's nascent soul realm cultivator in order to prepare a birthday gift for the Emperor-Empress was enough to make him stay away from Princess Qingqing. Not long after, they arrived at the Shao country. He saw Princess Qingqing and Wuxia standing in the air, smiling at the Thunderbolt Immortal. Their watery eyes were frightening. Seeing Xiao Hua flying over, Princess Qingqing didn't come over to greet him. Only Wuxia looked at Princess Qingqing and flew over. She bowed and said, this servant greets sect master. No need to be polite. Xiao Hua helped her up and said, most of the things in our Fortune Gate are vulgar and can't compare to the luxurious Immortal Palace. If you're not used to the Fortune Gate, you should return to the Immortal Palace as soon as possible. Even if the Immortal Emperor is angry, with the protection of the Emperor-Empress, you won't be too embarrassed. It's better than wandering in the mortal world. Wuxia's face turned pale and she said in a low voice, this servant knows. But this servant begs sect master, don't chase my young miss away. His Majesty has indeed issued a kill order. Young miss will not be killed by the Immortal Palace if she stays in the Fortune Gate. Although Wuxia's voice was soft, Princess Qingqing wasn't far away and naturally heard it. Although the smile on her face was bright, there was a faint sadness in her eyes. Forget it. Xiao Hua's heart softened and he couldn't help but sympathize. He waved his hand and said, do as you wish. Just pretend I didn't say anything. Many thanks, sect master. Wuxia smiled slightly and flew to Princess Qingqing's side without saying anything else. Behind Princess Qingqing and the others were the patrolling disciples of the Fortune Gate. The leader hurried forward to greet them. He then tried to ask about the strange movement earlier. Xiao Hua was surprised because this leader was only at the 4th grade and shouldn't have been able to sense Huang Tong's aura. Of course, when he saw the leader's gaze on the lightning sage, Xiao Hua understood. He smiled and said, "Children don't know each other and ask where the guest is from. You don't need to ask any more questions. Pass down this old man's order, tell Fu Jiwen to act according to our previous discussion." The leader was confused, but he didn't dare to ask any more questions. He hurriedly sent a disciple back to pass down the message while he waited beside Xiao Hua. In the time it took to eat a meal, the sound of weapons clashing could be heard everywhere in the Shao country. There were even sounds of weapons clashing, and from time to time, there would be waves of origin energy sweeping in like a hurricane. The chaos in the Shao country lasted for a full hour. Then, Fu Jiwen flew over with the tied-up Prince Lan, Li Xiang, and Xiong Yi. Seeing that Xiao Hua was here, Prince Lan cried out loudly, "Master, Master, I'm innocent, give it a tip, and thank you for all your support." Chapter 4740. Xiao Hua's face sank, but he didn't say anything. He only looked at Fu Jiwen. Fu Jiwen bowed and said, "Master, the Sky-Bearing Palace placed a total of 304 cultivators in the Shao country. 130 of them were captured alive, and the other 174 cultivators resisted. Disciple killed them all. The Daoist Qing Su and a few other cultivators that Master wanted to kill are not in the Shao country. Disciple has already sent troops to the Sky-Bearing Palace." Princess Qingqing found it strange at first, but after hearing Fu Jiwen's report, she came to a realization. She couldn't help but interrupt, "Xiao Hua, you're too soft-hearted. The Grand Mist Ancestor has already bullied you, yet you only killed a few of his disciples? If it were me, I would have annihilated the entire Sky-Bearing Palace." "Shut up." The lightning sage glared at Princess Qingqing and scolded, "When did I ask you to speak?" "Yes, I understand." Princess Qingqing obediently shut her mouth. "Because." Xiao Hua glanced at Princess Qingqing and answered indifferently, "The Grand Mist Ancestor has been killed by me. The Sky-Bearing Palace is mine." Clap, clap. Princess Qingqing stole a glance at the lightning sage and clapped her hands without saying anything. "Speak." The lightning sage was overjoyed when he heard that the Grand Mist Ancestor had been killed. He glanced at Princess Qingqing and spat out a word. After getting the lightning sage's permission, Princess Qingqing clapped her hands and said, "This is what a Dao Sect Supreme Expert should do. That Grand Mist Ancestor wanted to kill you and take your fortune gate for himself. You should have retaliated long ago. Now is the time to take the Sky-Bearing Palace for yourself. Not only the Grand Mist Ancestor." Xiao Hua continued, "Not only the Grand Mist Ancestor, the black-armored Pentaceratops and netherworld demonic dragon spiders were also killed by me." "Ah." Princess Qingqing was shocked. She looked at Xiao Hua in disbelief and asked after a while, "Daoist Xiao, you. What are you planning to do?" Xiao Hua ignored Princess Qingqing and said to Fu Jiwen, "Princess Qingqing is right. Gather the troops and head to the Sky-Bearing Palace, as well as the Grand Mist Ancestor's forces. Announce to the public that the Grand Mist Ancestor, the profound armored Pentaceratops, and the netherworld demonic dragon spider had ambushed Master and were killed by Master. Let's see how they react. If they don't want to submit to my fortune gate, you can let them go, but if they want to submit to my fortune gate, it's up to you." "Yes, Master, this disciple understands." Fu Jiwen was about to carry out the order. "Wait." Xiao Hua stopped Fu Jiwen again and asked, "Have the people of the Shao Empire moved to the Kunlun Immortal Realm?" Fu Jiwen glanced at the Thunderbolt spiritual master and smiled, "Martial Uncle Thunderbolt has already done this. There are still some citizens of Shao Empire who are unwilling to leave." N. Xiao Hua released his divine sense and took a look before saying to Fu Jiwen, "The current Shao Empire has already become an empty shell and has lost its meaning of existence. Send a disciple to pass down my order to withdraw from Shao Empire in 10 days. Also, inform the citizens of Shao Empire that Daoist Shao is willing to protect them. However, the method of protection will be chosen by Daoist Shao, and they will not force Daoist Xiao to make a choice. Disciple understands. Fu Jiwen bowed respectfully and left in a hurry. Only then did Xiao Hua's gaze fall on Prince Lan's face, and he said coldly, "Even now, you still say that you are innocent?" Mas. Master. Prince Lan opened his mouth, wanting to explain himself, but in the end, he was unable to open his mouth. "Shut up." Xiao Hua said coldly, "You are no longer worthy to be this old man's disciple. Moreover, since this old man found out that you were the one who harmed Changyu, you are no longer this old man's disciple." "Yes." Prince Lan hung his head dejectedly, and the light in his eyes dimmed. Xiao Hua said bitterly, "Prince Lan, this Xiao has saved you from the Yaotai mountain, and this Xiao has accepted you into the artificial transformation gate. This Xiao knows that you have selfish desires and ambitions, but it doesn't matter if you are fighting for power in the soaring Dragon Mountain range, or shrinking your forces in the Thousand Demons' sacred territory. It doesn't matter if you don't want to save this Xiao, or even if you seek refuge with the Grand Mist Ancestor when this Xiao's fate is unknown. This Xiao will not blame you. After all, when people are faced with difficulties, they will make their own choices. However, you should not have schemed against my Fortune Gate's disciples, especially Xiong Yi and Changyu, who were like brothers to you." This Xiao had asked Xiong Yi about it, and he had said clearly that if you were unwilling to go, they would not force you. Even Li Xiang did not go to the Thousand Demons' sacred territory, right? This Xiao does not know what you were thinking that day. How dare you attack Changyu? Xiao Hua's interest waned as he said this, and he waved his hand dismissively. "Forget it. Why is this Xiao talking so much to you? Xiong Yi, kill Prince Lan, and his disciples who were involved in this matter. All of them. Also, announce this matter to the public as a warning to others." "Yes, Master." Xiong Yi nodded and grabbed Prince Lan. "Xiao. Daoist Xiao." Prince Lan struggled and shouted, "This disciple knows his mistake. This disciple deserves 10,000 deaths. This disciple would like to kowtow to Daoist Xiao one more time before I die, hoping to be Daoist Zhao's disciple in my next life." "No need." Xiao Hua shook his head, "You will not be this Zhao's disciple in the future. I hope that in your next life, you will be a person with a clear conscience." Seeing Xiao Hua shake his head, Xiong Yi grabbed Prince Lan and said to Li Xiang, "Senior brother Li, let's go together." Li Xiang looked at Prince Lan's miserable state, and inwardly rejoiced. After all, he had entered the Fortune Gate at the same time as Prince Lan and Xiong Yi, so it was only right for him to send him off. However, he still took a glance at Xiao Hua. This glance revealed his indecisiveness, and he was afraid that Xiao Hua would have other thoughts. Xiao Hua's heart was heavy, and seeing Li Xiang looking at him, he nodded slightly. Li Xiang felt relieved and followed Xiong Yi. Beside the two of them, the disciples that Fu Jiwen had arranged earlier were already following them to prevent any unexpected changes. Princess Qingqing saw the displeasure in Xiao Hua's eyes, so she said, "Daoist Xiao, you are too soft-hearted. This kind of traitor should have been eradicated long ago. There is no need to worry about him." After saying that, Princess Qingqing looked at the lightning Daoist and realized that she had said too much. Seeing that Princess Qingqing was quick to speak, Xiao Hua nodded and stopped the lightning Daoist from scolding. He replied, "There is no other way, after all, this is a life. Moreover, he has followed this Xiao for many days. It's a pity that you can't judge a book by its cover. In the end, he actually fell to this state. A life for a life, a debt must be paid." Although Princess Qingqing didn't know the details of Prince Lan's crime, after hearing Xiao Hua's words, she understood most of it. She said coldly, "Although he was bewitched by the Grand Mist Ancestor's disciple, he still killed Changyu. He deserves to die. Yes, he deserves to die." Xiao Hua's heart moved, and he thought of the grudge between Ananda and Yuan Tongtian. He smiled bitterly and said, "But some people clearly killed people." But Xiao Hua's words had just left his mouth when he was stunned. After all, at his level, some thoughts would not appear without reason. Give it as a reward, and thank you for all your support. Chapter 47-41. Sure enough, before Xiao Hua could finish his words, his expression changed. Because at this time, Xiao Hua suddenly felt that the 3 voodoo puppets he left for Chunzong, one of them was broken. Without any hesitation, Xiao Hua's body flashed and he teleported away. When he was out of everyone's sight, Xiao Hua immediately asked Huang Tong to come out. When Huang Tong's demonic body appeared, she immediately understood Xiao Hua's intention. She waved her 2 phoenix claws in the air, and the void was torn apart. Huang Tong brought Xiao Hua and flew in. When Xiao Hua flew out, he was already at the coast of the East Sea of the hidden Immortal continent. Damn it! Xiao Hua's divine sense swept out. When he saw the situation in front of him, he couldn't help but curse inwardly. He saw that this was a dangerous place. The mountain ridge was steep, and the mountain path was rugged. Heavy fog covered the mountain peaks for hundreds of miles. A pungent stench was emitted from this fog, rushing into the air. At this time, the dense fog was filled with world-destruction mayflies. Some of them were on the fog, some were on the mountain peaks, and some were in the forest. Bursts of chewing noises that sounded like a sandstorm constantly rang out. Looking into the fog, at the foot of a mountain, Chun Zhang's monk robes were torn. He was powerlessly sitting on the mountain path, leaning against a stone wall. Moreover, there were many mayflies surrounding the mountain path like flies. They swarmed toward Chunzong like a swarm of bees. When Xiao Hua saw that Chunzong was unharmed, his heart calmed down. His gaze fell on Jinjia, who was waving the 9-toothed rake in front of Chunzong to drive away the mayflies. At this time, in front of the mountain ridge, there were 2 mayflies that were several hundred feet long. They were madly rushing toward Jinjia. Even though Jinjia roared, the 9-toothed rake emitted a cold light. It was still unable to deal with them. The 2 mayflies waved their tentacles, leaving tiny scratches on the rake. Chastity's 4 hooves danced in the air, occasionally stepping on the mayflies' bodies. Unfortunately, Chastity's hooves were unable to leave even the slightest mark on the mayflies' bodies. Looking at Jinjia's side, the 6-eared macaque waved its magic wand to protect Chunzong. In front of him, there were dozens of mayflies that were several tens of feet long attacking. Xiao Hua frowned as he looked at the 6-eared macaque. Of course, Xiao Hua had let the 6-eared macaque go in the small town by the East Sea. He had agreed to let the 6-eared macaque protect Chuanzong in his quest for the Buddhist scriptures in the West. He had used the most troublesome method to resolve the grudge between the 6-eared macaque and Yuan Tongtian. Moreover, Xiao Hua also learned from Mahavairakana the Buddha that the 6-eared macaque and Yuan Tongtian had some old grudges in their past lives. However, he still had some lingering hatred in his heart and did not want to see the 6-eared macaque. But seeing the 6-eared macaque in such a pitiful state, Xiao Hua sighed. The 6-eared macaque's left arm had been cut off by the red mayfly. A large gash ran from the left arm, through its chest, to its right leg. Blood was still dripping from the wound, and the blood had already soaked the entire mountain path. White bones could be vaguely seen on the left arm and right leg. It was obvious that the shaman puppet that had just been destroyed belonged to the 6-eared macaque. Roar. The 6-eared macaque let out a loud roar. His right arm waved the magic wand and blocked the red mayfly's hind leg. Before he could do anything, a red mayfly suddenly broke free from his defensive range. Its whip-like tentacles pierced through the air and aimed at Chun Zhang's forehead. Damn it! 6-eared macaque was shocked. He cursed under his breath and swung his wand at the red mayfly. Crack crack. There was a strange sound. 6-eared macaque's wand was caught by 2 of the red mayfly's tentacles. He could not pull his wand out. Seeing the ripples in front of Chuanzong's head, the mayfly's tentacles were about to reach out. Without any hesitation, the 6-eared macaque threw down the magic wand and stood in front of Chuanzong. At the same time, the red mayfly's tentacles landed on the 6-eared macaque's heart. Between life and death, the six-eared macaque's face was expressionless. He muttered under his breath, Namo Amitba. Swoosh. Before the six-eared macaque could finish his chant, there was a flash of light in front of his eyes. When the six-eared macaque came to his senses, he was already in the air. In front of him was Xiao Hua's expressionless face. Master. The six-eared macaque was shocked. He quickly looked around. When he saw that Chun Zong was standing behind him, unharmed, he relaxed. He bowed to Xiao Hua and said, Thank you, Jinren Xiao. Xiao Hua. Huang Tong frowned. Her eyes were like lightning. She glanced at the red mayflies on the ground and asked in a low voice, Are these the red mayflies you were talking about? Xiao Hua nodded. He looked at Huang Tong expectantly and asked, Do you have a way to kill these red mayflies? Let me see. Huang Tong said. She spread her wings and flew towards the red mayflies. Thank you for saving me, uncle. Chun Zong came to his senses. He quickly put his palms together and bowed. Looking at Chun Zhang's weak state, Xiao Hua's heart ached. He quickly took out some pills and spirit dates and gave them to Chun Zong. He said, Take these pills and rest for a while. Chun Zong looked at the six-eared macaque and said, With Jin Kong and Jin Jia's protection, I am not injured. I don't need your pills. Please give me some spirit pills to heal Jin Kong. If possible, please use your divine powers to heal Jin Kong's body. Xiao Hua nodded. He put the spirit dates and pills into Chun Zhang's hands. He then took out another jade bottle and gave it to the six-eared macaque. Take this pill. No need. The six-eared macaque did not even look at the jade bottle. He replied, Thank you for your kindness. This body has become my burden. I was afraid that I could not give it up. Now that the red mayflies have swallowed it, it will help me. I do not want to take any pills. Oh. Xiao Hua was taken aback. After a while, he said coldly, When I let you go that day, I wanted to destroy your cultivation. But considering that you wanted to protect Chun Zong, I did not do it. Now that you have lost your left hand, your strength is greatly reduced. How are you going to protect Chun Zong? Let me tell you, Bodhisattva. The six-eared macaque replied calmly. Escorting the master to the west to seek the scriptures requires loyalty. It requires determination to seek the scriptures. It requires perseverance to go through hardships. It has nothing to do with strength and cultivation. Also, ever since we parted at Longevity Town, I have learned a lot. I am ashamed of what I have done. In my previous 8 lives, I have practiced Buddhism and never harmed anyone. But in this life, I have taken over the body of the six-eared macaque and was controlled by the demonic qi. My hands are stained with blood. In Layin Temple, I killed someone in front of Mahavairakana. A disciple like this. How can I become a Buddha? This body is not mine. This body is not mine. Gift it, and thank you for all your support. Chapter 47-42. Now, Xiao Hua understood why the six-eared macaque did not use its skill to save Chun Zong. It was because the six-eared macaque did not have the time to do so. It was also because the six-eared macaque wanted to die. I knew it. Xiao Hua exclaimed. The most troublesome method may not be the most satisfying, but it is effective. Ananda is very different from before. Amitba. Chuanzang said. You are six-eared macaque, and six-eared macaque is you. Ananda is you, and you are Ananda. Jinkong is you, and you are Jinkong. There is no time in cultivation, no matter how many lives it is. The first life is not the beginning, and the 9th life is not the end. Since you have made your choice, there will be an inevitable result. This may be fate, or it may be a predestined fate. Fate may not be a good thing, and predestined fate may not be a bad thing. As long as you have Buddha in your heart, you will be Buddha at any time, and you will be Buddha everywhere. Amitba. Six-eared macaque's eyes suddenly teared up. He knelt in front of Chuanzang and kowtowed. Thank you for your guidance, master. It's not guidance. It's just some enlightenment. Chuanzang helped Six-eared macaque up and said, my journey to the west has just begun. There is still a long way to go. There are not many bodhisattvas on this path. I am very happy to have you by my side. Looking at the two of them, Xiaohua's hatred for Six-eared macaque faded. He handed the jade bottle to Six-eared macaque and said, Jinkong, Chuanzang begged me to give you this pill. This time, I am willing to give it to you. Thank you, Bodhisattva. Six-eared macaque shook his head. I may not hate this body anymore, but I don't have to fix it. This broken body. Maybe it is also a form of cultivation. Up to you. Xiaohua nodded and handed the jade bottle back to Chuanzang. Chuanzang, as you can see, the 3 continents today are different from the 3 continents in the past. Your journey to the west is different from that of Nirvana. There are too few people who can protect you. And I am busy trying to kill these strange insects. I have no time to worry about your safety. How about this? This old man knows where the Western Buddhist site is. You just have to come with me. Thank you for your kindness, Bodhisattva. Chuanzang said with a smile, I'm following Bodhisattva. That's Bodhisattva's way of seeking sutras, not mine. Only the way I walk on my own feet is the true way of seeking sutras. Forget it. Xiaohua understood Chuanzang's stubbornness, thus he nodded and said, if you want to leave by yourself, then let a Fortune Gate disciple escort you. Chuanzang rejected Xiaohua's good intentions again and said with a smile, Bodhisattva. If it is protected by a Fortune Gate disciple, then was it a Fortune Gate disciple who begged for the scripture, or was it a disciple who begged for it? Xiaohua wanted to speak again. He even wanted to ask the disciples of Xinhua continent who believed in Buddhism to become Chuanzang's disciples. However, when he thought about how he had asked Yuan Tongtian to protect Chuanzang, he realized that he had caused so much karma and even caused Yuan Tongtian to lose his life. He really did not dare to interfere with the karma of Buddhism. However, Xiaohua still earnestly advised, Chuanzang, these world-exterminating mayflies are too powerful, they died unfortunately. Before Xiaohua could finish, Chuanzang put his palms together and said with a smile, Amitabha, Bodhisattva, if this disciple is afraid of these difficulties, how can this disciple seek the scripture from the west? How can this disciple cross the eastern sea and western sea to seek the scripture? All right. Seeing that Chuanzang had made up his mind, Xiaohua nodded and took out another shaman puppet, throwing it to the 6-eared macaque without even looking at it. He then raised his voice and asked Huang Tong, fellow Taoist, did you see any clues? The 6-eared macaque did not want to take the shaman puppet, but after seeing Xiaohua throw it to him, he completely ignored him. He helplessly accepted it and put it away. Bodhisattva. On the mountain path, Zhenjia was still entangled by the 2 world-exterminating mayflies, unable to free himself. When he heard Xiaohua's words, he subconsciously begged, Elder, don't always protect Master Ah, please take pity on this disciple Ah. This disciple has not eaten a full meal for several days. Right now, I'm so hungry that my chest is sticking to my back, I don't have any strength. Boom boom boom. Following Zhenjia's words, 2 lightning bolts struck the world-exterminating mayflies. Buzz buzz. The 2 strange insects suddenly swelled up, and then exploded uncontrollably. Phew. Zhenjia let out a long breath, leaped into the air, and smiled at Xiaohua. Greetings Bodhisattva Guan Yin. Xiaohua looked at Zhenjia and saw that he was also injured, then threw him a bottle of pills, then looked at Huang Tong, who was still fighting with the mayflies. Zhenjia took the jade bottle, opened it, and did not consume it. Instead, he handed it to the 6-eared macaque and said, I didn't expect you to be so desperate, this pill is for you. Senior brother, keep it for yourself. The 6-eared macaque shook his head and refused. Humph, take it or leave it. If you want it in the future, I don't want to give it to you. Zhenjia took the jade bottle and asked with concern, Master, are you okay? Chuanzang nodded. I'm fine, you've worked hard. It's not hard at all. As long as Master is safe and sound, this disciple can rest assured. Jinjia patted his chest and said solemnly, but don't worry, Master, as long as this disciple is here, whatever strange insects are not a problem. However, as Jinjia spoke, he looked in Huang Tong's direction with lingering fear. Woo! Huang Tong flapped her wings, and boom boom boom. Sounds of explosions rang out. The mayflies several li away were reduced to dust. Then, Huang Tong's body shook, and she landed in front of Xiao Hua. There was a trace of confusion on her face. She shook her head and said, I don't have any good ideas for now. If you have a way, kill these strange insects first. Okay. Xiao Hua agreed, and took out the Kunlun mirror, releasing the Fortune Gate disciples from Shenhua mainland. Watching the Fortune Gate disciples kill the mayflies, Huang Tong said, these mayflies are very strange, they don't have souls. They are like a kind of child insect in the mystic origin space. However, if they are child insects, they should be empty shells or shadows, they shouldn't be so solid. Of course, if it is as you said, and these mayflies come from the upper realm, then these child insects might be different from the mystic origin space. Moreover, if they are child insects, there should be a mother insect among them, but I have already checked, there is no trace of a mother insect. Without the mother insect's command, how can these child insects move on their own? Xiao Hua's eyes lit up when he heard this, and he hurriedly asked, in the mystic origin space, what do the mother insect and the child insects look like? Give it a tip, and thank you for all your support. Chapter 47-43. The so-called mother insect is the real insect race. Huang Tong explained, this mother insect has an unusual ability. It can't give birth to children, but it can give birth to children that are exactly the same as itself in a special place. Oh, it's similar to Confucian calligraphy. However, these children are not real, but a kind of illusion or empty shell. When there are many children, the mother insect will lead these children out, just like there are so many mother insects. When the children attack the enemy, the mother insect will hide in the middle of the children and give the enemy a fatal blow. Of course, because these children are illusions, they don't have any souls. That must be it. Xiao Hua nodded, I also don't believe that there are living things without souls in this world. Furthermore, if these mayflies came from the upper realm, they definitely wouldn't fly into the 3 continents in groups. It could only be one or a few mother insects that broke into the upper realm, and then gave birth to so many child insects in the void. So killing these children is simply treating the symptoms and not the root cause. Huang Tong continued, only by finding the mother insect and killing it can we eliminate the mayflies from the root. AI, don't talk about treating the symptoms and not the root cause. Xiao Hua pointed at the Fortune Gate disciple who killed the mayflies and said, my Fortune Gate disciple is so brave, but he can't even deal with these children. Now, I can't even think of a way to treat the symptoms. Huang Tong seemed to have a plan. He smiled and said, if I'm not wrong, if the 3 continents want to avoid this disaster, not only can we go to the Dawn Rain continent to find the heterogeneous true qi, we can also find the mother insect in the void of the 3 continents. Both methods have to be carried out at the same time. You're right. Xiao Hua narrowed his eyes and thought for a moment, then replied, if we go to the Dawn Rain continent, the Immortal Palace, Thunder Temple, Great Sage Hall, and Dragon Island will look for the mother insect in the 3 continents. There's no need to jump to conclusions. Huang Tong was a little worried, if there's an immortal array outside the 3 continents, my space escape technique may not be able to pass through the realm barrier. I know. Xiao Hua comforted. When this matter is over, we will go and verify it. Several days later, the Fortune Gate's disciples killed all the mayflies in the vicinity of the mountain ridge. Xiao Hua also learned from Jinjia that Chun Zhang's group's encounter with the mayflies was purely an accident. The mayflies were merely here to devour the spiritual energy around the mountain ridge, and coincidentally ran into Chun Zhang's group who were passing by the mountain ridge. Moreover, as soon as the mayflies appeared, Jinjia was about to fly away with Chuanzong. However, Chuanzong insisted on leaving by himself, which was why he was surrounded by the red mayflies. Xiaohua angrily scolded Jinjia while at the same time warning Chuanzong, although the road must be walked step by step, but when encountering danger, one must also jump and walk. Chunzong saw how much the six-eared macaque had sacrificed for him, so he agreed to let Jinjia take him away if they were ever in danger again. Only then did Xiaohua feel at ease and allow Chuanzong, Jinjia, and Jinkong to continue their journey. After sending Chuanzong away, Xiaohua took out the Kunlun mirror and collected the Fortune Gate's disciples. He then narrowed his eyes and thought for a moment before saying, "Fellow Taoist, you said before that if you want to go to the 10,000 demon realm, you need to know the 10,000 demon realms realm dimension or aura. I don't have the 10,000 demon realms realm dimension here, nor do I have the aura of the 10,000 demon realm, but I do have an aura similar to the 10,000 demon realm here. I wonder if it will be useful." Huang Tong himself was not sure. He smiled and said, "I can't answer you now. I have to look at your so-called aura similar to the 10,000 demon realm's aura, then find the edge of the 3 continents that is closer to the 10,000 demon realm. The aura of the 10,000 demon realm's realm is easy." Xiaohua smiled and said, "Fellow Taoist, please enter the jar." "Okay." Huang Tong sensed Xiaohua's mind and did not evade. His body was sent into the spiritual world inside the space by Xiaohua. "How is it?" Xiaohua's mind entered and turned into a jade archive. Xiaohua looked at the surprised Huang Tong and smiled. "Good." Huang Tong flapped his wings and praised, "The spiritual energy here is so abundant, and the aura of all living things inside is very enjoyable. Our realm is the place I should come. Fellow Taoist, if you like it, you can come more often in the future." Jade Archive Xiaohua nodded and said, "I want to know what you mean." "Ha ha ha." Huang Tong laughed and said, "Fellow Taoist, don't worry. I have already sensed this aura when I returned to the 3 continents that day. It is near the space where I met fellow Taoist." "Ah. Really?" Jade Archive Xiaohua's face was full of surprise. He shouted in disbelief. "Of course." Huang Tong nodded seriously and said, "Isn't fellow Taoist's luck the best in the world? Even the luck of a Confucian cultivator is a fart to fellow Taoist." "Huh, just kidding, just kidding." Jade Archive Xiaohua waved his hand embarrassedly and said, "How about we return to that space now and confirm it again? I will listen to fellow Taoist's instructions." Huang Tong said, and followed Jade Archive Xiaohua out of the spiritual world, directly tearing the space, using the space escape technique to come to the previously unformed realm. At this time, the realm had already begun to gradually recover, and Xiaohua could not sense the existence of the space. After Huang Tong entered the space, he flew to a place, then flapped his wings, and strange runes appeared on his wings. These runes were like tadpoles, and also like flying shadows. They fell into the air and disappeared. Moreover, as Huang Tong continued to dance, the runes poured into the void like an endless river. After a full meal, Huang Tong's demonic body trembled slightly. Only then did the runes slowly diminish. Ga. Huang Tong let out a phoenix cry, and his other sharp claw flashed with a dazzling light, deeply piercing into the place where the runes poured in. Ka ka ka. The void was torn apart, and layers upon layers of destructive aura gushed out from the cracks. Xiaohua's divine sense swept out, and he could already see that within the void cracks, there were strands of multicolored colors. As those colors fell into his divine sense, they transformed into scenes. Some were huge mountain ranges, some were deep wild forests, and some were flying spirits. It was actually 70% similar to the spirit world in the void. However, just as Xiaohua was about to take a closer look, a dense pitch-black color surged out of the light and shadow, swallowing all the colors in an instant. Even an incomparably enormous force emerged from the spatial crack, forcibly sealing it. This is the power of the realm. Huang Tong explained, the 10,000 demon realm and the 3 continents are 2 different realms, and they are extremely far from each other. It is different from the Shenyuan space's realm connection. The realm passage I opened can't last long, and this realm passage is very fragile. I'm afraid only I can pass through it. Chapter 47-44. Xiao Hua pinched his chin, thought for a while, and said, from the current situation, we can basically confirm that the other side is the 10,000 demon realm. Also, we can confirm that you can use this passage to enter the 10,000 demon realm. Yes. Huang Tong nodded and said, however, I don't have much confidence in passing, maybe only 40%. Speaking of this, Huang Tong thought for a while and said, of course, if I return to your body and you use your space escape technique, you should be able to pass. However, this chance will be reduced to 30%. I understand. Xiao Hua nodded, let's go back to Shao country first. When Xiao Hua returned to Shao country with Huang Tong, the Thunderbolt Immortal and Princess Qing Qing were still waiting there. In order to avoid suspicion, Xiao Hua explained Xuanzang's situation in front of Princess Qing Qing. Princess Qing Qing knew that Xiao Hua let the 6-eared macaque go. When she heard it, her cherry lips curled up in disdain. She didn't understand why Xiao Hua didn't take revenge for Yuan Tongtian. However, when she heard that the 6-eared macaque was tormented by karma and even had to give up his physical body, she came to a realization. She looked at Xiao Hua's smiling face and fell into deep thought. After Xiao Hua finished telling the truth, he sighed, if Xia wasn't beside me that day, I would have done it long ago. That way, I could have taken revenge, but now. Speaking of this, Xiao Hua's heart moved, and he stopped listening. Astonishment flashed across his eyes as he recalled what the Mahavairakana rebirth, the Dipankara archaic Buddha rebirth, and the Maitreya Buddha rebirth had mentioned about the Buddha kingdom and the holy light world back in the Thunder Sound Temple. He wondered if Ananda, who was the wisest in Buddhism, had anything to do with this matter. After all, Ananda, who reincarnated as the 6-eared macaque, was also brought from the Dawn Rain continent to the 3 continents. As for later, when Xiao Hua killed the profound armored pentahorn dragon, he actually saw a trace of holy brilliance in the dragon's body. Xiao Hua had never seen this brilliance before, and the holy horn of the profound armored pentahorn dragon was different from the horn of the Pegasus. Xiao Hua didn't know if this holy brilliance belonged to the holy light world, but because Xiao Hua didn't want to get involved in the grudge between the Buddha kingdom and the holy light world, he kept this matter to himself. Maybe. Princess Qing Qing didn't notice Xiao Hua's actions, but Xiao Hua's actions aren't wrong. Xiao Hua thought for a moment and secretly laughed. Could it be that the Pentaceratops or Ananda are also related to the holy light realm? Damn it, what does this have to do with me? Let the Mahavairakans Buddha world. Hua, Taoist, 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 Taoist. Please speak. Taoist smiled and said, how can I not listen to the sect master's orders? Please head to the Great Holy Hall, Thunder Temple, Dragon Island, and Immortal Palace. Inform them of the Insect Queen's whereabouts, and have them divide their forces to search for the Insect Queen. Xiao Hua smiled and nodded. Of course, this isn't the most important thing. The most important thing is to invite the heaven-defying Lightning Phoenix, the Scholar Palace's master, and the others to my Fortune Gate. I have something important to discuss with them. But Taoist scratched his head and said, I know Taoist's matter is important, but I don't know where these places are. I'll go with you. As soon as the Thunderbolt Venerable finished speaking, Princess Qingqing immediately spoke up. Shut up. Taoist scolded, I didn't ask you to speak. However, after Taoist finished speaking, he exclaimed in shock, what? You want to accompany me to the Immortal Palace? You. Aren't you afraid of being captured by Old Man Gaochen? Princess Qingqing's face was a little pale. In truth, the Immortal Palace was the place she didn't dare to mention. Immortal Emperor Gaochun's emperor's aura was like a mountain pressing down on her heart. How could she dare to meet Immortal Emperor Gaochun? However, when she heard Daoist speak, she couldn't help but interrupt him. It was as if it was a wonderful thing to be able to help Daoist. Oh. You want to accompany Daoist to the Immortal Palace? Xiao Hua looked at Princess Qing in surprise. After all, in his eyes, Princess Qing was a person who sought benefits and avoided harm. Why would she walk into a trap for no reason? Xiao Hua couldn't help but think about the little abacus in his heart, wondering if Princess Qing had any other plans. After Princess Qing finished speaking, she felt a little regretful. However, when she saw the suspicion in Xiao Hua's eyes, she steeled her heart and looked at Daoist. Without any hesitation, she nodded and said, "Of course. Young miss." Yu Xiaojing hurriedly advised, "You can go to other places, but the Immortal Palace." "Humph, what's wrong with the Immortal Palace? If that old Gaochun dares to touch a single hair of Qingqing, I will tear down the southern heavenly gate for him." Without waiting for Yu Xiaojing to finish, the Thunderbolt Immortal coldly snorted and said, "Let's go, Qingqing. This is urgent. Follow me to the Immortal Palace." "Yes, this concubine is at your command." Princess Qingqing's face was flushed with excitement as she replied without hesitation. "This servant will accompany Miss." Yu Xiaojing could only say in a low voice, "All right." Xiao Hua looked at Princess Qingqing and Yu Xiaojing and nodded. "Then I'll have to trouble Princess Qingqing to accompany Dao Friend Lei to these places. After all, fellow Daoist Thunder has never been to these places." Then, Xiao Hua looked at the Thunderbolt Immortal, who was becoming more and more human, and said, "Fellow Daoist Thunderbolt, this is an urgent matter. Go and come back quickly. I will wait for your good news at the Creation Daoist Palace in the Yuanxi Reef Plain." "All right, I'll leave now," the Thunderbolt Immortal said as he grabbed Princess Qingqing and Yu Xiaojing in his hand. Lightning flashed around his body as he rushed into the sky and flew towards the Earth Fire Wind Lightning Palace. Seeing that the Thunderbolt Immortal had disappeared, Xiao Hua smiled and said to Huang Tong, "If Zixia was here, she would be happy to see the changes in Princess Qingqing." Huang Tong nodded and said, "In my opinion, although this Princess Qingqing has a lot of bad things and may have even done some outrageous things, under the influence of the Thunderbolt Immortal, it is not impossible for her to change for the better. Moreover, in the hundreds of thousands of years in the Shenyuan space, I have seen many foreign races, even more so than Princess Qingqing. In the end, among them, there were also those who sacrificed their lives for the sake of their race. I hope that what I saw is the truth." Xiao Hua sighed. "I really don't dare to believe the people of the Immortal Palace." Xiao Hua released his divine sense again and scanned the Shao country on the ground. "Give it a reward, and thank you for all your support." Chapter 47-45. At this time, the Shao country was already sparsely populated. The deadline that Xiao Hua had instructed Fu Jiwen to send the message had passed, but there were still not many people who agreed to go to the Xinhua continent. Xiao Hua took out the Kunlun mirror and collected all the commoners who were willing to relocate. He then ordered the Fortune Gate's disciples to line up and collect all the commoners. After that, he flew several thousand li away without looking back. He stopped in midair and looked at the Shao country in the distance with a hint of nostalgia. "Don't be too harsh." Huang Tong felt Xiao Hua's sadness. He smiled and said, "These people have their own lives and have the right to choose. Although the Xinhua continent is good, in their eyes, the Shao country is a paradise. Of course, I'm not discouraging you, but the remaining people of the Shao country don't particularly believe in you. You don't have to think about them." After all, Huang Tong had not lived in the four continents for hundreds of thousands of years. His words were different from Xiao Hua's. Xiao Hua gradually got used to it. He smiled bitterly and said, "I know what you said. I know. But I feel that I haven't given them enough." Haven't I treated them well enough? The Shao country may be attacked by the strange insects in the future. Why can't they listen to me and go to the Xinhua continent? I don't ask them to believe in me or Daoist Shao. I just want them to live peacefully. Because they don't fly as high as you, don't see as far as you, and don't have the strength to change their lives. Huang Tong replied, because in their eyes, the current life is the best life. The current life is the most comfortable life. The so-called disaster of the strange insects, in your eyes, is imminent. But 100 years, in their eyes, is a lifetime. And Xiaohua slowly turned his head, as if he had given up something. He said slowly, I am human, they are human too. I can't force them, I can't force my world on them. This is fate. That's right. Huang Tong looked into the distance and said faintly, that day when I left Yijian, he asked me the same thing. He felt that he had already treated me very well, and I had helped him a lot. He couldn't bear to leave me and begged me not to leave him. However, you and everyone else are here. Fellow Taoists, this is my home. No matter how good the mystic essence space is, it's still a foreign land. I can't always drift outside, right? Sigh, that's right. In a foreign land, on a different path, those who don't return home are those without roots. Xiaohua also sighed in his heart. The 3 continents were not his home, the Dawn Rain continent was not his home, and the great desolate continent that he had visited before was also not his home. His home. When would he be able to return? Let's go, we'll return to the Yuanxi Reef Plains. That can be considered our temporary home. Xiaohua lightly smiled, hiding his homesickness deep within. Let's go. Huang Tong let out a long cry and flapped her wings. She tore open the void once more and flew in. When Xiaohua and Huang Tong flew out of the void, they were in the West Sea. Xiaohua naturally could not distinguish between north and south. He looked around and simply sent out the message talisman. Then he asked Huang Tong, I've always wanted to ask you, if you're talking about walking in the void, this Shao and other cultivators can do it too. However, this Shao saw that the void you're traveling in is not the void we saw before? Of course. Huang Tong smiled and said, this void is not the void we saw before. Moreover, the profound meaning of space escape is different from teleportation. The mystic essence space is a beehive-like world. The profoundness of the study of space laws is far from what the 4 great continents can compare to. Of course, as a different world, the mystic essence space cannot be compared to the 4 great continents in many aspects. That Yi Jian ascended to the celestial realm? Xiaohua suddenly asked. This. Huang Tong hesitated and shook her head, I don't know. After all, I'm not a mystic cultivator in the mystic essence space and I'm only a supporting character. Xiaohua nodded and asked again, also, from what you said, you seem to be able to occasionally receive insights from my cultivation in the mystic essence space? Indeed. Huang Tong smiled and said, it is also because of your insights that Yi Jian was created. In his heart. I'm afraid you are the same as Master. Now that I think about it, these insights should have been when you were advancing and communicating with the heavens and the earth, allowing me to sense them in the other world, right? That's not right. Xiaohua said in bewilderment, when my strength improved the fastest, I was still in the heavenly prison. How could you receive my insights? That I don't know. Huang Tong shook her head and said, anyway, I told Yi Jian that this is what Daoist Master Shao said. Oh, you told him my name? Xiaohua asked curiously. Of course. Huang Tong said proudly, you and I are one. I am teaching on behalf of you, how could I not tell him your name? Don't worry, Xiaohua, Daoist Master Shao is definitely engraved in his heart. What about the name Huang Tong? Xiaohua asked thoughtfully, was it also given by you? Yes. Huang Tong smiled and said, previously, I was still ignorant and did not understand these things. When I received your insights, I also used the demon beast souls in the Shenyuan space to cultivate and gradually gained consciousness. Over time, I also felt that I should have a name, so I gave myself the name Huang Tong. Wonderful. Xiao Hua clapped and said, "You are my phoenix dharma body, named Huang Tong. The heaven-defying thunder phoenix is my phoenix avatar, named Feng Wu. Isn't that the concept of phoenix wudong?" While speaking, Xiao Hua's expression changed. He looked in a direction and said with a smile, "That's right. In just a few days, Lu Yi has already set up such a tight defense in the West Sea. He is really much stronger than me. Everyone has their own talent, but many people don't know what their talent is in their entire life." Huang Tong did not transform into a human form. She still displayed her demon body that was hundreds of feet long. Looking at the vast West Sea, she said lightly. Xiao Hua asked with interest, "Then what is this Zhao's talent?" "Good luck." Huang Tong blurted out without any hesitation. "Ha ha ha." Xiao Hua laughed heartily. He urged his figure to fly somewhere, and his complacent voice reverberated in the air. "Good luck is also a talent. This can't be helped." Hearing that the Fortune Gate's 10th old master had returned, Lu Yi and the other disciples were overjoyed. Under the lead of Daoist Yun and the celestial being, they flew out of the Yuanxi reef to welcome him. Seeing that Huang Tong and Feng Wu were almost exactly the same, the group of disciples was dumbfounded. However, they soon realized that Huang Tong's aura was completely different from Feng Wu's. Other than a kind of domineering arrogance, there was a kind of naked killing intent and coldness. It was comparable to the Fortune Gate's 9th old master, Archdevil Shur. Give it as a reward, and thank you for all your support. Chapter 47-46. Although Reverend Yun and the celestial being had received Xiao Hua's message in their minds, they knew that this phoenix celestial body with a strange aura was Xiao Hua's incarnation, and they also knew that he came from another world. After greeting each other, Reverend Yun stood with a smile on his face, while the celestial being looked at Huang Tong from head to toe and asked curiously, "Earlier, fellow Daoist Xiao said that your cultivation base might be too weak, but who knew that you are so powerful? Why don't you have a competition with me?" Huang Tong looked at the celestial being, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. They were both Xiao Hua's incarnations, and they were the same person. Why would they compete with each other? Of course, when Xiao Hua told Huang Tong that the celestial being did not have a complete human nature, Huang Tong came to his senses. He thought for a while and said with a smile, "If so, let's have a competition. If you lose, you have to give me your position as the 8th master." "All right." The celestial being nodded without hesitation and asked, "What if you lose?" "Do you even need to ask?" "If I lose, I will give my position as the 10th sect master to you." Huang Tong also answered firmly. Come, come, come." The celestial being rushed up into the sky and shouted, "Fellow Daoist Xiao, you help us." Xiao Hua was speechless, but when he saw that Reverend Yun was also interested, he said, "Let fellow Daoist Xiao help you." "No problem." Reverend Yun was also thinking about something after a long period of silence. "My sons, the Western Ocean is a vast place, and now it belongs to our Fortune Gate. You should beat the drums and cheer for our 8th master and 10th master." The disciples who came to greet them all had cosmos bags in their hands. When they heard this, they were all overjoyed. They took out war drums and other things from their bags and rushed up into the sky to beat the drums. Hee, good, good. Xiao Hua was happy to see this and let his disciples do as they pleased. However, Xiao Hua's mind was not on the battle between the celestial being and Huang Tong. He looked around and did not see Princess Zixia and Lao Ai. Of course, Lu Yi wouldn't fly over with the other disciples to join in the fun. Seeing that Xiao Hua was looking for someone, he understood and hurriedly said with a smile, "Master, ever since you left, Princess Zixia and began to organize all the information in Zhai Xing Lu, hoping to find some clues about the 4 great continents. I have already reported the news of your return to Princess Zixia. She should be out soon. Xiaohua felt quite gratified and nodded as he said, "It's been hard on them." "Oh, that's right." Lu Yi passed down the order first. "Have the 300,000 disciples ready to go?" "Yes, master." Lu Yi didn't ask for the reason at all. After agreeing, he issued the order. Darling Xiao. At this moment, a concerned voice came from afar. Wasn't that Princess Xixia who was flying over? "Xixia, thank you for your hard work." Xiao Hua's silhouette flickered and he immediately landed beside Princess Xixia. However, he didn't make things difficult for Princess Xixia. He only smiled and looked at Princess Xixia. He didn't extend his hand. Seeing that Xiao Hua respected her, Princess Xixia was even happier. She hurriedly asked, "Where's the Grand Mist Ancestor? Is he plotting something?" She then looked at Gao Tian and asked curiously, "When did the heaven-defying lightning phoenix come? Why is he fighting with the Devis? Where is the Fortune Gate's 10th master?" Xiao Hua pointed at Huang Tong and said, "Xixia, look carefully. This is not the Great Holy Hall's heaven-defying lightning phoenix, but our Fortune Gate's 10th master, Huang Tong." "Oh? Is that so?" Princess Xixia exclaimed in surprise. This concubine's cultivation is not high, but this Huang Tong looks exactly the same as the heaven-defying lightning phoenix. Roar. The Devis who were fighting suddenly roared and spat out a scarlet beam of light, forcing Huang Tong away. He then shouted, "Stop, stop." Daoist Yun chuckled and said, "How can we stop? I am still waiting to see fellow Daoist Huang Tong be defeated and hand over his position as the 10th master to someone else." TCH. The Devis glanced at Daoist Yun and said in a serious tone, "Fellow Daoist Yun, are you stupid? He's already our Fortune Gate's 10th old master, who would put his position in their eyes? I am not going to be fooled. If I win, I will have to hand over my position as the 8th master to him, and if I lose, I will have to exchange my 8th master for his 10th master. This is a losing deal, I will not do it. Humph, I am smart enough to see through this guy's sinister intentions before the battle is over." Haha. Xiao Hua laughed and said, "Fellow Daoist Devis, Huang Tong is just joking with you. How can I mess up the arranged seats? Let's go, I will sit on the Fortune Gate's throne. Darling Xiao, this concubine will make way for you." Princess Xixia said with a smile. "Not today." Xiao Hua thought for a moment and said, "I have killed the black-armored Pentaceratops, nether demonic dragon spider, and Grand Mist Ancestor. Maybe there are some things I need your advice on." "Ah." Princess Xixia was shocked, but she asked first, "Darling Xiao, you are not injured, right? How is that possible?" Xiao Hua replied, "They are just two great sages, how can they injure a Daoist Grand Ascension stage cultivator? Don't worry. TSK. Your little tail is sticking up again." Princess Xixia's eyes flashed as she whispered to Xiao Hua. Following which, Xiao Hua and the others entered the Fortune Dao Palace. Xiao Hua was the first to sit on the fortune throne. Then, he slapped the throne. Rumble. Thunder rumbled as 9 other thrones that looked exactly the same appeared, lining up on the Fortune Dao Palace's high platform. However, although the thrones looked like they were still inside the Fortune Gate's palace, they had already disappeared into the void and covered a radius of several miles. Xiao Hua sat down and looked to his left and right. He rolled his eyes and said in a clear voice, "Fellow Taoists, my Fortune Gate has 10 patriarchs, and this Xiao is sitting alone in the center. The two sides are not arranged neatly. How about we do this?" As he spoke, Xiao Hua waved his hands, and the thrones that were arranged in a row in the void rumbled and gradually gathered together to form a ring. This ring was very strange. Although the 2 thrones had their backs facing the Fortune Gate's disciples, Lu Yi and the others could see the front of the thrones clearly. "Good." Reverend Yun praised, and his dragon body landed on one of the thrones. When Reverend Yun sat down, Lu Yi and the others saw that there was no difference between the size of Reverend Yun's throne and Xiao Hua's throne. I'm here. The heavenly being looked at Huang Tong, afraid that Huang Tong would snatch the eighth master's position from him, so he shouted and landed beside Reverend Yun. Then, Xiao Hua took out the Kunlun mirror and saw Daoist Witch and Archdevil Venerable Shi taking their respective seats. Give it a tip, and thank you for all your support. Chapter 47-47. Welcome, 10th Old Master. Lu Yi and the others didn't dare to delay. They bowed and shouted, Disciples, please take the 10th Old Master to the fortune throne. Ha, good, good, good. Huang Tong laughed happily. With a flap of his wings, he covered the entire Fortune Dao Palace and landed on the fortune throne opposite Xiao Hua. Xiao Hua looked at the empty thrones on the left and smiled. This old man has already sent the lightning reverend to inform the others. I believe it won't be long before the Fortune Gate's 10 old masters return. Princess Xia sat on a jade chair below the high platform with Biyao accompanying her. Lu Yi and the other disciples cheered, Congratulations, first old master. The heavens have blessed our Fortune Gate for 10,000 generations. Good. Xiao Hua didn't want to disturb the disciples' happiness. He nodded and said, Today, this old man will sit in the Fortune Dao Palace to welcome the return of 10th Old Master Huang Tong. Secondly, I would like to tell you all about the things I encountered and the current situation. Xiao Hua told them about how the Grand Mist Ancestor had joined hands with the profound armored Pentaceratops and the netherworld demonic dragon spider to ambush them. When the disciples heard this, they couldn't help but feel indignant. They knew better than anyone how much Xiao Hua had sacrificed for the survival of the three mainlands. Now, three venerable realm cultivators had schemed against him shamelessly. Xiao Hua finally said, This time, it was really dangerous. If Huang Tong hadn't returned, this old man would have been in trouble. However, the profound armored Pentaceratops and the netherworld demonic dragon spider were killed, and the Grand Mist Ancestor's remnant soul escaped. They deserved it. This old man left the 1,000 demons' sacred grounds and went to the hidden immortal mainland Shi country. I have already told Fu Jiwen to announce this matter to the world. Where is Lu Yi? Disciple is here. Lu Yi hurriedly stepped out and bowed. The Grand Mist Ancestor is sinister, but the sky-bearing palace is innocent. No matter what, the sky-bearing palace's disciples are part of our Dao sect. We can't let them wander freely in the West Sea and be attacked by those strange insects. Xiao Hua ordered, You are my Fortune Gate's sect master's disciple, your status is sufficient. Go to the West Sea's sky-bearing palace personally. If they are willing to join my Fortune Gate, accept them. If they are unwilling to join my Fortune Gate, tell them to leave the West Sea and return to the hidden immortal mainland. After all, there are human cultivators there. As for the strength of the hidden immortal continent's Grand Mist Ancestor, this old man has already sent Fu Jiwen to pacify him. Yes, disciple understands. Lu Yi accepted the order and hurriedly left with his disciple. After Lu Yi left, Xiao Hua looked around before speaking again. Our Fortune Gate's 10th Old Master, Huang Tong, has returned. Not only has our Fortune Gate's 10th Old Master gathered here, he has also brought good news. That is, I and Huang Tong may go to the 10,000 demon realm through the space interface. When the disciples heard this, their faces were filled with shock, but in a moment, they were ecstatic. Not bad. Xiao Hua looked at the joyful smiles on everyone's faces, and he was also very happy. He raised his voice and said, In other words, all of my Fortune Gate's disciples can enter the Kunlun immortal paradise, and this old man will bring all of you out. Leave the 3 continents that have destroyed the world. However, after the Fortune Gate's disciples were ecstatic, they quickly calmed down. Wang Bianfei hurriedly asked, Master, of course we can leave. But other cultivators, for example. Wang Bianfei stopped here and didn't know how to continue. For example, who? The hidden immortal continent's Confucian cultivators? The Thousand Demons Sacred Grounds Demonic Beast Clans? The Buddhist sect in the Pure Land? Or the Sky-Bearing Palaces Tao sect? At the end of the day, if Xiao Hua's strength was not outstanding, if the Fortune Gate's rise had not exceeded the Buddhist sects and Confucian demonic beast clans' expectations, if the three continents' conflicts had not accumulated to a certain degree, if the exterminating mayfly did not appear, the Fortune Gate's relationship with the Buddhist sect, Confucian cultivators, and demonic beast clans would not have eased to such an extent. Maybe the Fortune Gate's disciples were fighting with the Buddhist sect and Confucian demonic beast clans. First Old Master, what about the three continents' common people? Seeing that Wang Bianfei did not say anything, Princess Xixia stood up and asked in a low voice. Her pair of beautiful eyes stared at Xiao Hua, and no one knew what she was thinking. Xiao Hua's heart was somewhat agitated for no reason. He took a deep breath and said, previously, this Xiao thought that we could first go to the 10,000 demon world, and then go from there to the Dawn Rain mainland. Once we got enough spiritual herbs from the Dawn Rain mainland, we could return the same way. This way, we could use the spiritual herbs to exterminate the mayfly. Moreover, this Xiao has the Kunlun Mirror and the Kunlun Wonderland, so it doesn't matter how many spiritual herbs I get. Unfortunately, nothing is perfect. The space passage from the 10,000 demon world to the Dawn Rain mainland is one way. As long as we return to the Dawn Rain mainland, we cannot return to the 10,000 demon world. Of course, there are other space passages from the Dawn Rain mainland that lead to the 10,000 demon world. But the three continents do not have the time to wait, and this Xiao also does not have the time to find another space passage. Therefore, even if this Xiao can go to the 10,000 demon world, it does not mean that this Xiao can find a way to exterminate the world exterminating mayfly. Even so, this Xiao has finally found a way for our Fortune Gate's disciples to escape death. This Xiao goes to the 10,000 demon world, to the Dawn Rain mainland, and you can also live. You don't have to fight with the mayfly anymore. Of course, this Xiao said before that the thing that separates the three continents from the Dawn Rain mainland is an immortal array. This Xiao also thought of looking for clues, looking for a flaw to break this immortal array. But thinking about it, this immortal array was set up by the Upper Realm's Almighty. Although there are some subtle flaws in the immortal array, these flaws are enough for even great sages of the demonic race and Taoism's grand ascension stage to escape with their lives. How can our mortal world's methods break this array? First Old Master, you are a little pessimistic. Princess Xixia said worriedly. Xixia, it is not that I am pessimistic, but you have not seen the methods of immortals, you have not seen the power of this immortal array. Xiao Hua did not hide anything and said, even someone as strong as Fairy Xingyu, an invincible existence in the three continents, is afraid of this immortal array and does not even dare to mention it. Someone as strong as Bei Ming, who is the cousin of the seven-colored sea god Seashell, is far stronger than the great sages of the super great sage temple, but he also fell into the immortal array's flaw, and now he is neither dead nor alive. This kind of immortal array is not something that our mortal world's cultivators can look up to. In particular, the four continents are definitely not ordinary places, and the one who set up this immortal array is definitely an immortal venerable or even an immortal king. Even if we ascend to the immortal world, we are just ordinary immortals. How can we compare to such an existence? Don't tell me that we have not ascended yet. If that's the case. Princess Xixia naturally did not think that Xiao Hua was exaggerating. She frowned and asked, our three continents are really in a dead end? Chapter 47-48. Not necessarily. Xiao Hua hesitated for a moment before continuing. Huang Tong thinks that there is only one true world-destroying mayfly. The mayflies we've seen so far are just the larvae of the mother mayfly. Perhaps we can find the mother mayfly and kill it. If the mayfly can no longer reproduce, as long as we kill the larvae, the crisis of the three continents will be resolved. The three continents, 3 rivers and 4 seas, how big is that? Xia sighed. How can we find the mother mayfly? Don't Confucian cultivators often say that as long as one works hard, an iron pestle can be ground into a needle? It's not impossible to give it a try. Xiao Hua's words were filled with sarcasm. However, Princess Xia didn't mind and continued to ask, Sect Master, let me ask again, how big is your Kunlun paradise? Can it hold more common people from the 3 continents? Hearing the word common people, Xiao Hua sneered. His heart ached, and the corner of his mouth curled into a sneer. Xia, you know about the Xiao country, right? When Princess Xia saw the sneer on the corner of Xiao Hua's mouth and heard Xiao Hua's question, she already understood what Xiao Hua wanted to say. She grew up in the Immortal Palace since she was a child. She learned the art of kings and read the customs of the people of the hidden Immortal continent. How could she not know the ignorance of the common people? She sighed in her heart and nodded. Of course I know. The last time we left the Xiao country, we asked the lightning Taoist to help us bring the Xiao country's people into the Kunlun paradise. Xiao Hua said. But the result? 80% of the people entered the Kunlun paradise, and the other 20% were unwilling to leave. Just now, I told them that the Fortune Gate's disciples will leave the Xiao country, and there will be no one to protect them, but they were still unwilling to leave. I feel that I have done a lot for them, but why don't they believe me? If the Xiao country is like this, then what about the Yu prefecture? The hidden Immortal continent? How many of them are willing to listen to me? How many of them are willing to listen to my Tao Gates arrangements? Sect Master can ask the Immortal Emperors and the Mahavarokana world revered to take action. They are the absolute kings of the hidden Immortal continent and the pure land of ultimate bliss. They might not necessarily not have spatial artifacts. Moreover, the mortals of the 2 continents will not disobey them. We can even ask the golden-winged rock and the heaven-defying thunder phoenix to command the demons of the 1,000 demons sacred realm to enter the Kunlun immortal realm. But there is no space passage to the 10,000 demon realm. Xiao Hua shook his head again. Huang Tong's space crack can only allow him and me to pass through. Other than entering my Kunlun immortal realm, the Immortal Emperor and the Mahavarokana revered Buddha have no chance to escape. Sigh, Sect Master. Princess Xia sighed and said, human nature is hard to fathom. If you're kind, he might be evil. If you're evil, he might be kind instead. Didn't the human race have a saying that goes, kind horses are ridden by people, kind people are bullied by people? However, Elder Sect Master, you are a high and mighty almighty. You must be more broad-minded than them. You must not be discouraged. You must give these common people a way to live. Sigh, forget it. Xiao Hua waved his hand and said weakly, let's not talk about this for now. I'm just telling you the truth and letting you choose. I want to comprehend the space escape technique with Huang Tong. I won't be leaving for a while. You all should think about it first. Okay, then I'll take my leave. Princess Xia knew that Xiao Hua was definitely not saying what he meant. His heart must be very conflicted, so she didn't say anything more. Master, the disciples will also take their leave. Wang Bianfei and the others looked at each other and also bowed and left. When everyone left, the celestial being shouted, fellow Taoist, our space is almost unlimited. Why don't we take in all the common people? We can take them away together. Absolutely not. Taoist Witch shook his head, such a big move, the Immortal Emperor and the Mahavarokana revered Buddha will definitely know. At that time, we won't be able to leave. Although our space is big, we will only take in people who are fated. I will definitely not take in people who are unwilling to enter the space by force. Xiao Hua said coldly, at such a critical moment, it's already not bad that we can protect ourselves. As he spoke, Xiao Hua sat cross-legged on the throne of creation and whispered in his heart, fellow Taoist Huang Tong has returned. There are a lot of space laws and space escape techniques that can be taught. Let's hurry up and cultivate. It might be useful in the future. Good. When the celestial being and the other avatars heard this, they quickly calmed down. On the throne of creation, an inexplicable fluctuation came from Huang Tong's body and passed through the throne of creation to Xiao Hua and the other avatars. When this fluctuation had the same rhythm on everyone, all the thrones of creation transformed into 10 different spaces at the same time. These spaces were different in style, but the fluctuation was the same. The 10 spaces slowly rotated around the ring. In the end, they turned into light and shadow. It was impossible to tell which space it was and who was inside the space. After an unknown amount of time, the entire ring suddenly trembled a few times and stopped. The 10 thrones were still the same 10 thrones. However, on the thrones, there were either humans or demons. Each of them was trembling, as if the inexplicable fluctuation was still inside them. Ga. Outside the Fortune Palace, a joyful phoenix cry sounded. On one of the thrones, Huang Tong's wings flapped and she immediately escaped from the light of the throne. Similarly, a clear Ga cry sounded, splitting the sky. It was almost exactly the same as the phoenix cry in the distance. So it's the first great saint of the Great Sage Hall, the heaven-defying Thunder Phoenix is back. Huang Tong's figure rushed out of the Fortune Palace and landed high in the sky. Looking at the black shadow in the distance, he laughed loudly. Boom! As Huang Tong's voice fell, several beams of starlight and moonlight fell from the sky. Amidst the starlight and moonlight, the phoenix parasol tree flashed like a pair of wings made of stars and moonlight. It whistled through the air. So you're the 10th master of the Fortune Palace. Feng Wu looked at Huang Tong and an inexplicable feeling arose. A strange, ripple-like distortion flowed rapidly between the two demonic beasts. Feng Wu immediately understood where Huang Tong came from and sighed. When this saint asked fellow Daoist Xiao about it, fellow Daoist Xiao only smiled and didn't say anything. This saint didn't expect you to have such a deep relationship with this saint. This one is Huang Tong, greetings big brother Feng Wu. This kind of instinctive closeness, this kind of bloodline connection, made Huang Tong feel familiar with Feng Wu. He smiled and said. Chapter 47-49. Huang Tong. Feng Wu. It's indeed a phoenix falling from a parasol tree. Even our names match so well. It's really heaven's will. Feng Wu sighed. Yes. Xiao Hua had already flown out with the celestial beings. He looked at Feng Wu and Huang Tong with a smile and said, back then, I didn't know how to condense a doppelganger and only used the Buddha's Vajra Dharma body to cultivate. But in the end, I actually formed a phoenix Dharma body. How interesting. Feng Wu smiled and said, yes, if Huang Tong didn't fall in the other world, I probably wouldn't exist. No. Huang Tong shook her head and said, you are you, I am me. It's already been decided by heaven. Feng Wu looked at Huang Tong and said in surprise, although you're considered a demon, you don't cultivate the power of the stars and moon? Then where did you ascend to? Yes. Huang Tong nodded. I'm walking another path of cultivation of the demon race. I use 10,000 souls to build my body and the power of space as my supernatural power. It's different from the cultivation of the stars and moon of the demon race of the 3 continents. As for ascending, I haven't thought about it. Previously, Fairy Xingyu said. Xiao Hua interrupted, in the demon realm, there are demon clans who cultivate the power of the stars and the moon, or condense demon cores, or cultivate souls. It seems that there are many different kinds of demon clans. That's good. Feng Wu had already understood. She stretched out her wings and formed a big hand and said, when the time comes, we'll break the starry sky together. It's a deal. Huang Tong wasn't used to transforming into a human form. At this moment, she also stretched out her big hand and touched Feng Wu's big hand. Xiao Hua looked behind Feng Wu and asked curiously, Sage Feng, where's Thunderbolt Immortal? Thunderbolt Immortal? Where is he? How would I know? Feng Wu replied in confusion. Oh. Xiao Hua raised his eyebrows and said with a smile, so Sage Feng wasn't invited by Thunderbolt Immortal. Of course not. Feng Wu replied, I was entrusted by you and sneaked into the depths of the Great Sage Hall. Only after this saint had gone through all the hardships and dangers did this saint realize that the Great Sage Hall was the most mysterious place of the 3 continents. The starry skies within recorded the secrets of the 3 continents for who knows how many years. Of course, the deeper you go into the Great Sage Hall, the more dangerous it is. Even with this saint's ability, I am unable to reach the deepest part of the Great Sage Hall. Who knows what strange things are inside? In that case, Feng Sheng has gained something? At this point, Xiao Hua was no longer too interested in Feng Wu's news. It's hard to say. Feng Wu shook his head. I only obtained it by chance. I don't know if it has anything to do with the 4 continents or the Immortal Array. Phoenix Sage, please speak. Xiao Hua asked. But before Feng Wu could say anything, a thunderous rumble came from where Feng Wu came from. The Thunderbolt Sage arrived with Princess Qingqing and Wuxia. He saw Feng Wu from afar and shouted, Feng Sheng, why are you here? If the North Sea Dragon King hadn't told me, I would have flown to your Great Sage Hall. North Sea Dragon Palace? Xiao Hua was taken aback. Fellow Daoist Thunderbolt, why are you there? I went to Blackwind Ridge first. From there, I went to the Great Snow Mountain. Then, I found Maitreya Buddha and went to the Earth Fire Wind Lightning Palace near the Great Snow Mountain. From there, I went to the Heavenly Palace's southern gate. The Thunderbolt Sage answered concisely. I didn't even see the southern gate. I had the palace guard report to the Scholar Palace's master that you had urgent matters to discuss with him. It seems. Scholar Palace had just returned to the Lingyun Palace. I didn't see him either. I knew that the Immortal Palace's time was different from the 3 continents, so I hurriedly used the Southern Gate's passage to rush to the North Sea Dragon Palace. Oh, so that's how it is. Xiao Hua nodded. Was this your idea? What, is there a problem? The Thunderbolt Sage whispered. This was Qingqing's arrangement. However, it was my idea not to enter the Southern Gate. If there's a problem, I'll beat her up. No, no. Xiao Hua hurriedly advised. You did very well. Hee, that's good. The Thunderbolt Sage was very happy to be praised. He had Princess Qingqing and Yu Xiaojing return to the Fortune Gate first. He then looked around and asked, what's going on? It's understandable that Scholar Palace is late, but why is the little monk also late? Namo Maitreya Buddha. Just as he was speaking, a ray of Buddhist light gently flowed across the horizon. When it descended, Namo Maitreya Buddha stepped on a 9th grade Buddhist lotus and appeared from the Buddhist light. Greetings to everyone. Seeing one of the 3 Buddhist lords, although they knew that he had the same origin as them, the venerables did not dare to slight him. They all bowed in return. Namo Maitreya Buddha, the venerable of the world's divine ability, is getting more and more powerful. Xiao Hua laughed. Even I can't detect the venerable of the world's traces. AI. The venerable of the world sighed and said, has the Bodhisattva noticed the abnormality of reincarnation? Of course. Xiao Hua nodded. At present, these mayflies are just larvae. They don't have souls. All the creatures they devour, be it humans, demonic beasts, or dragons, can't enter reincarnation. The venerable of the world asked curiously. The Bodhisattva didn't seem to mention it to the Mahavairakana Buddha that day. And, do you think the Mahavairakana Buddha will have a solution if I mention it? Xiao Hua said meaningfully, or, do you think he didn't notice it? I don't know if the Mahavairakana Buddha noticed it or not. I just found it when I was passing by the South Sea. The venerable of the world said mercifully, I used Buddhist divine ability but couldn't send them into reincarnation. That's why I was delayed and collected a lot of souls along the way. Bodhisattva, please help. Okay. Xiao Hua agreed. The Venerable of the World took out the Tree of Seven Wonders. As he waved it, Xiao Hua also released the Netherworld Origin Force. The Tree of Seven Wonders actually sent out tens of millions of souls. After collecting the souls, Xiao Hua asked again, the Venerable of the World, presumably fellow Daoist Thunder has already told you what I mean. What do you think? What should your Shaolin Long Temple do? Isn't this Venerable's idea the same as the Bodhisattvas? The Venerable of the World laughed. This Venerable is the future Buddha Lord of Buddhism. It's impossible for me to abandon the Buddha Lord and the Bodhisattva of Shaolin Long Temple. It's even more impossible for me to abandon the Bodhisattva of the Pure Land world and care for myself. Even if this Venerable dies, I will die with all living beings. Understood. Xiao Hua nodded. The Venerable of the World's idea wasn't out of his expectations at all. This sage doesn't have many children, and the demonic beasts under my command aren't many either. Feng Wu laughed. If fellow Daoist leaves, this sage will also take them away. You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.